from the horror classic Poltergeist. It resonates through the pit area. He's back. Steve Kinzer has climbed to the top of the Pennzoil World of Outlaw point standing. Tuesday, he took over the series' tightest ever points race when Cousin Mark suffered a rare second DNF. Last night here in Fargo, North Dakota, the King showed he likes life at the top, winning the first of two preliminary features, wire to wire.
And the front of the local sports page says it all. Kinzer, still king of the Outlaws. And last night here at the Red River Valley Speedway, Steve Kinzer was awesome, slicing and dicing his way through traffic in this beautifully prepared car number 11. But there is a little transition period going on right now in the King of the Outlaws camp. Scott Gherkin, his crew chief of the last 3.5 years with the Quaker State team, will be performing in his last race tomorrow night, and he will be replaced by Guy Forbrook, who has recently parted company with Jack Eldon Racing, Jack Hoddenschild's team, about 6 weeks ago. Guy's going to be taking over the wrench turning, and so, Steve, you're back on top. Everything is good. Smiling number one, but a little bit of a transition period to go along with it as well. Do you think you'll be able to withstand the transition?
Well, let's hope so. I'd like to keep Scott aboard, but we don't know what his decision is going to be now. We've got an awful good team working here. We've last 3 or 4 races worked together, and it'd be nice to have them both there, but I don't make that choice. All I can do is offer jobs, and we're running awful good right now. This is a good time to get this team gelled, and a lot of big money races coming up the second half of the season.
What will Guy Forbrook specifically bring to the team? What's his area of expertise?
Well, you know, he's just pretty good on everything. He's grew up around racing. He's a real good chassis with the chassis, pretty good with the motors and everything else. But, you know, Scott's did a tremendous job keeping this thing, him and Jimmy, keeping this thing prepared. We haven't fell out of hardly any races. The thing always gets checkered. I wish I could keep them both here. I hope Scott gives it some thought, but that's his choice.
Only 3 DNFs all season for the Quaker State team, and this guy is standing up in the seat. Now, if you think things are a little bit crazy over here in the number 11 camp, it's even crazier over at number 22, and that's where Dave Reef is standing by.
Oh, you're exactly right, Bobby. In fact, Guy Forbrook's departure did leave a temporary void here in Jack Eldon's Pennzoil pit, but it was only temporary. Their new crew chief ought to feel right at home. See if you know what I'm saying. This is Dean Bonsai Bruns, who's now spinning the wrenches for Jack Wildchild Houdenchild. Nicely done there, Bean. Hey, Jack, things have been going pretty good, too. The last 12 times you guys have been out, top 5s every time, and you won 4.
Yeah, the Jack Eldon car's been real fast this year, and, you know, we got Bonsai wrenching on the car, and he's got the Maxim chassis working real good, and our Gertie motor's running good.
I'll tell you what, though, you did get off to an inauspicious start tonight during hot laps. Tell me about what happened there.
Well, we just broke a rear axle, and the tire got underneath the car and spun us around in circles and got us into the wall, so it made us destroy a car, so we had to get another car out, and we're going to go from there.
You were able to go out and time that thing 14th. Is it going to be able to go back up into a top 5 finish tonight, you think?
Yeah, I think so. The tracks got rubber down, and so we're hoping to get back up through there.
It'll be tough, but one thing for sure, when Jack Houdenchild gets his gander up, he can come to the front. Tonight just might be one of those nights.
On a hot night in a city famous for its cold, TNN Motorsports proudly presents live coverage of the Pennzoil World of Outlaws. From the beautiful Red River Valley Speedway, it's the Duel in the Dakotas. Now, Fargo is home to about 100,000 wonderful fans and people. That means 1 out of every 5 residents is going to be here tonight. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Evans, and what do you say? Live TV, big deal in Fargo. Hey, Fargo. Want to say hello to race fans all over North America. Yeah. I just had to do that. Demand for tickets is so strong, the Outlaws run here 3 consecutive nights and jam the place all 3. This is the middle evening. Let's talk about this wonderful speedway. It is very, very fast. It's a short half mile around the outside, not the inside. The banks are medium to high, and I'm telling you, they will rocket around this place. And every team hopes to use this weekend as a launch ramp to what we call the month of money that begins live here on TNN next Friday and Saturday nights. Also, they're involved in the closest points battle in the 20-year history of the Outlaws. For more on that, here's Ralph Shaheen and Brad Doty in an air-conditioned boat.
Absolutely, Steve. Hi, everybody. Come on up here, Evans. We got a seat waiting for you. This points battle is unbelievably tight here in the Pennzoil World of Outlaws. Let's take a look at the point standings coming into tonight's race. This is after last night's race. And look at Steve Kinzer up on top, but Brad, 2 DNFs this week for Mark Kinzer coming into Fargo. He slips to 4th.
Now, the World of Outlaw point structure, you can't miss any races at all, and with those 2 DNFs that did set him back, Jack Hoddenshield's team missed 3 races to regroup. Jack had an injury. They fell back to 12th in points. Very critical to make all these races.
7 times Mark Kinzer has had DNS in 1998. They're a little bit upset about that. Let's also talk about this change in crew chief. Bonsai goes to the Wild Child, and Forbrick goes over to King Kinzer. Who gets the better deal here?
We as fans do, I believe, because anytime there's a change like this and a mix-up, everybody wants to do their best. They want to prove it wasn't the other guy, it was them. So we're going to benefit because they're going to run hard. Last night, Steve Kinzer drove around Jack Hodenshield on the outside coming out of turn 4 to take the win. So I'm sure that ruffled some feathers.
Well, there's one other crew chief we haven't talked about that I think comes in here tonight, Brad, just loaded for bear. Carl Kinzer, 2 DNFs, and he sees Steve Kinzer sitting atop of the point standings. He's going to have a big bullet loaded up in that 5M working car for his son, Mark. You can be sure of that tonight. Hey, come on back to Fargo with us, where they say 40 below keeps out the riff-raff. We're ready to go racing with heats after this. Welcome back to the Red River Valley Speedway and the Duel in the Dakotas. West Fargo, North Dakota is where we are. Heat number 1 of 4 heats is already pushing off, and we're getting set to go with our live coverage of the Pennzoil World of Outlaws here on TNM Motorsport. All right, let's take you right now to that lineup for heat number 1 while we get everybody pushed off and ready to go racing. Dion Hindy and Darren Pittman on row 1. Greg Hodnett and Brooke Tatna will make up row number 2. Tyler Walker with Mark Kinzer in row number 3. Bill Robertson and Shane Liebig back in row number 4. Mike Johnson in the 94 ends up scratching out of this one, we're told now, and Scott McDonald will make the show in the 33. Engine problems for Mike Johnson out of Larimore, North Dakota.
See how this racetrack holds up with this early start time of 7 o'clock Central Time. And considering we're almost in the land of the midnight sun, I mean, there's still a glow from the sun at 10 o'clock tonight when we go off the air. They put as much water into this track as possible to try to have the best conditions they can. And if it's as good as last night, it will be spectacular.
Well, Brad, there you see it.
Well, last night it did get some tire wear. Sammy Swindell ran a 62, which is usually run on a mile during the daytime. Steve Kinzer won it on a 40, but did get slower toward the end of the race. Sammy came on strong, so tire wear is going to be critical tonight.
Most guys were telling me in the pit area, Brad, that this track goes one way or the other. It's either dry and really rough on tires, or it gets tacky.
Yeah, in the times it's been tacky, usually maybe a drizzle during the night, a real heavy, foggy night, and it'll stay so sticky that you can't hardly spin a wheel. But generally it's like this, and the guys know that, and they prepare for it. That everybody be watching everybody's tires after every heat race and see what this wear is doing to the tires.
Bobby Gerald?
Well, Ralph, I think tires are definitely going to be a factor, but maybe overshadowing all of that, I think, is going to be the great racing that we're going to see tonight, because as Steve alluded to, this track is so high speed, there's never one chance for anyone to relax. You have to be on the edge at all times, as you race fans are about to see when we get set to go with heat race number 1. You are going to love the Red River Valley Speedway.
Heat number 1, coming off of the 4th turn, Dion Hindy and Darren Pittman leading to the line.
Darren Pittman is taking over for Lance Blevins, who has been having some trouble, some medical trouble, and they're finding out now the doctors say it's the low potassium that's been causing headaches and just a weakness. So Darren Pittman has taken over in that car for a while.
That's the 21, which flips back to 3rd, and Dion Hindy takes the lead. But here comes the 7K of Brooke Tackle. Duke Terrell helping out on that deal. Speaking of crew chiefs, that know how to make you go fast.
Deuce has been around a long time, and he knows how to make a race car get around these racetracks.
Tyler Walker up into 4th. That's the transfer spot. 4 of these going straight onto the A-main. How about this? Mark Kinzer, he's on his way to the A-main. Puts the work in 5M right into the lead. Told you, Carl coming out looking a little angry tonight.
And remember now, they have inverted the quick fix from time trials in all of these heats we're going to see today. So the quick guys are coming out of the 3rd row.
Mark was quick time tonight. Danny Lasowski was the 2nd quickest coming into this.
So they'll take the top 5 finishers and get their time back for the dash, and the way they'll finish the dash again tonight is the way the last game made. So they just got to run the top 5. Very critical.
Dion slipping there. He'll slide back into 3rd. Make that 4th for Hindy. So it's Mark Kinzer, Catnall, Tyler Walker, and then the 18 of Dion Hindy. Now the fight for the transfer spot is starting to heat up a little bit here. Greg Hodnett, the Vibrant 11H. That's that yellow car right behind the white machine of Dion Hindy.
Yeah, and Greg Hodnett and their team, they're disappointed on the way this season has been going. you know, anytime you're not winning a lot of races, you're disappointed, and they just can't seem to get the handle on it, and really don't know why.
And there is nothing worse than starting your evening being fifth in a heat race when you had to be fourth to go to the A-main.
Well, I got to correct myself on that, Steve. We were saying actually it is 5 that are going, so he will make it. Hodnett will.
Changes every race.
That's right. Here's the fight for fourth. Hodnett, the yellow vibrant car, trying to get to the inside. A little bit of smoke coming off the back of that. They're really working those tires hard already, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. When you see smoke like that, that's tire wear. So what that means, that tire rubber is going somewhere and it sticks to the racetrack. So as the night goes on, the track will probably get faster.
Mark Kinzer, Tatnall, Walker, Dion Hindy, Greg Hodnett, your top 5. That's the way they'll finish in heat number 1. Coming up one spot short, Bill Robertson out of Ashland, Nebraska. Bobby?
Well, we're standing by with Jeff Swindell, who was ready to go, just getting ready to be pushed off for heat race number 2. Jeff, what about this racetrack tonight? It's certainly keeping the guys guessing.
Hey, no doubt about that. Boy, this thing is slick. You know, it's moving all over the racetrack. Earlier on, it was right on the bottom, and then it kind of moved to the middle, and Mark just kind of showed us the groove around the top. She ended up around the top there last night. So, you know, hey, maybe we can get this 104 plus octane boost forward up front. We're starting on the front of the heat. We'll have our work cut out for us in the feature, but lately that's where we've been qualifying. So I think we've passed more cars than anybody this year in the feature. So maybe we can win this heat race and get a little momentum going.
Do the dry conditions remind you at all of the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, where you've had so much success?
Well, this thing's got a little more bank to it, and we're starting about 4 spots farther back, I think, than we did there when we won that thing. But we got the radios in. RaceAudio.com is carrying our in-car audio live this year, so we'll see what that happens.
Jeff Swindell won the A-Main here in 1989.
And the folks here in Fargo have really gotten into the world of Outlaws, and it's been great up here in Fargo area. Glad you're with us. Stay with us. Heat number 2 coming up.
Motor Madness, brought to you by Miller Lite, who reminds you that whenever you feel good, it's Miller time. And by Cooper Tire and Rubber Company. Cooper Tire, the world is your course. Drive on.
Welcome back to one of the finest dirt tracks in America, kind of at the top of America, really, in Fargo, North Dakota, the Red River Valley Speedway. All right, heat number 1 is in the books. Let's go down to the pits and hear from the winner.
Unbelievably, this is only the 5th time Mark Kinzer has won a heat race this year. That's kind of uncommon for you, but he came right to the front from the 3rd row.
Yeah, tonight, you know, every position counts, and normally on an Outlaw show, you'll get in a comfortable 3rd or 4th and ride there, but tonight, every position means a point for the final night, and you've got to get them all.
Track's changed a little bit from qualifying. It was down low.
Yeah, it'll probably work that way again. Maybe they'll have time to work the track, but right now, it's definitely going to move down low. Fortunately, Iowa, good friend of ours, she had open heart surgery, and she's doing good right now, I understand.
We certainly do wish her the best. And just to give you an idea, Ralph and Brad, how abrasive this racetrack is, take a look at Mark Kinzer's tail tank. This is all dust that's come off the tire stuff.
What do you think, Brad?
Well, it is. It's wearing the tires off, and that's just rubber dust all over the tail tank. And like I said earlier, they're really going to watch and see what this tire wear is. But what Mark said there, I want to clear something up about the points for tomorrow night. Last night and tonight, they accumulate points for tomorrow night's A-Main, where he said every point was critical.
Right.
So that's what he meant. Everybody trying to get up there in the top 4 are locked in for tomorrow night's A-Main.
And, Ralph, there are some hitters in this second heat. Take a look at this.
Yeah, there sure are. Terry McCarl and Jeff Swindell in row number 1. Jack Hodenshield and Lauren Lanerud in the 56L in row number 2. Steve Kinzer and Daniel Wasowski. That's a stout row. Row number 3, Shane Carson and John Lambert, pair 12. In row 4, Randy Butler and Jason Went in the 16W, back in row number 5.
To give you some idea how successful number 11 Steve Kinzer has been this year in the heat races, he has only been in one B-main, and he won it. Only one time has he failed to transfer out of the heat to the A.
Wasowski's had a pretty good weekend here, too, Brad. He qualified, number 1 last night and finished 5th, and tonight he comes in as number 2 qualifier. So he's got Jimmy Carr, former driver, wrenching for him. So you never know. That team might be able to do something here tonight as well.
And Wasowski likes the bigger racetracks. As we see a problem here with the 22 of Jack Hodenshield.
Let's check in with Bobby.
Well, just getting a quick word with Gene Bonza, the crew chief. He said there's something wrong with the fuel system right now. They think they may have to change the fuel pump, and I think I hear Jack was revving it up real hard, almost like he was getting ready to shut the motor off. So they've got a big problem here, and I'd say their status for this heat race is in jeopardy.
Remember, this is their backup car, Brad.
That's one of the problems. The thing sets in the trailer. You think you have it prepared, but when you have to roll it out that quick, things are dry, and you never know what kind of problems you're going to have, and that stuff creeps up on you.
And they run a tremendous amount of fuel pressure in these alcohol-burning injected motors. Sid Waterman, a friend of mine, does a lot of those pumps, and he would say the same thing. That pump shouldn't be able to sit in there for that long a period of time. It should be checked out. And it sure sounded like a fuel pump, didn't it?
Well, the Outlaw officials are showing 1 to go.
They're saying they're shaking his head. They're not going to let him go out. They're ready to go racing, and they're saying, no, you can't go out. It's too late.
What a disastrous night. And we're only in this thing 15 minutes for Hod.
Boy, that's not what you want. That's not a way to start out.
It really started bad because he was in the first warm-up session of the day when he flipped the car over in turn number 4. So,
which was a benefit if you're going to do it, because that gave him a little extra time to get the car ready to qualify. But
well, there are 19 other guys ready to fight it out for spots in the A main. We'll take 5 out of heat number 2. McCarl jumps into the lead. Steve Kinzer going outside and right up into the lead.
Right there, came from the 3rd row.
That's just what he did last night in the A main here. Daniel Lisowski up into 3rd. Jess Wendell runs in 4th. Lisowski on the bottom trying to get around McCarl.
You know, when Steve was talking about Scott Gherkin, he was saying he'd like for him to say Scott Gherkin builds these engines for this 11 car, and he's a good engine tuner, as is Forbrook. But Forbrook's a really good chassis man. If they could work together, Gherkin do the motors and Forbrook do the setup. Boy, right now they've been successful, and I think Steve wants to try to keep the combination together.
So put Danny the Dude Lisowski in that Beef Packers Tom Johnson's back number 83 up into 2nd. Steve Kinzer has absolutely checked out just like he did in the main last night. There's the Quaker State car. McCarl's in 3rd, Jess Wendell's in 4th, and 5th in the final transfer is Lauren Langrud out of Harwood, North Dakota, in the 56L.
You know, Kinzer sounds like he's driving this racetrack flat out. We didn't really see anybody do that in time. I mean, absolutely flat out, never lifting.
There's our transfer spot. That's we got a yellow.
Yep,
got a
one up along the wall in turn number 2. Looks like one of the 12s. Let's check in with Bobby.
Well, here's Jack Ottenschild. Jack, what kept you out of the heat race?
Fuel pump leaking out of the front of the seal.
All right, so he's out of the heat race. This really puts you guys behind the 8 ball now for the rest of the night, as if you weren't already with the flipper earlier. How's your health right now, and will you be ready for the B?
Yeah, I think we'll be ready. We'll just have to put another pump on it and go from there.
Elbows all right?
Yeah, they'll be all right.
All right, Jack Ottenschild says he'll be back out for the B, and that will make our semi-main awfully exciting tonight.
Thanks, Bobby. John Lambert's in the 12L out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. The car to spin over in turn 2. Working Woody over there to get him started up. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Fargo, North Dakota. We are to heat number 2 here tonight. Let's take a look at tonight's racing format so you have an idea of what we're working our way through. 4 heat races, 8 laps each. Top 5 will advance straight to the A main. Now, we will have a channel lock dash. That'll be made up of 8 cars. 5 laps to determine the starting order of the A main. That's for the fast guys. And, of course, a C main, where we'll take 4 to the B, and then a B main, which will take 4 cars straight to the A main, and then a 30-lap A main tonight. Last night was a 20-lap A main. Tonight, 30. Now, here's your top 5 in this heat number 2, the way they currently stand. These 5, they don't change. We'll all transfer straight to the A main tonight. Should be going green this time by the front straightaway.
Now remember, the cone is on the front straightaway, so they have to start down the front straightaway, and no one can pass. They have to get by that cone.
Steve Kinzer gives us another rocket start. Best battle right there for 3rd. Sherry McCarl, the first car you see, the white number 24, the red 104. That's Jeff Swindell in the Ford Power car. Now here's the fight for the transfer spot. And that has changed. Shane Carson, and the $12 sign is now up to 5th. And slotting back one and out of it at this point is the 56L of Lauren Langren out of Harwood, North Dakota.
Interesting, Shane has kept that $12 sign number as long as I've been covering Outlaws. That's been about 15 years. He's a promoter out of Oklahoma City, promotes sprint car races, and everybody associates the promoter with all the money. So he just put that $$ sign on there.
And
Look at that shot, Ralph. Did you notice, look at the top of Steve Kinser's wing? You can see, as he goes down the straightaways, the thin material they're using, it pushes down on the top of the wing, and you can see the rift in the center of the wing. That's incredible with these speeds. There's a little smoke off the right rear. There it is.
Yeah, right there. Right in the center. Bookmarking around the top of the queue there. Checkered flag will be waving for the King. He takes the win. Daniel Lisowski takes second. Here's your battle for the transfer spot coming your way. Meanwhile, McCarl and Jeff Swindell cross the line. They're going on. Smoking off that right rear of the 56L means that Shane Carson will hold on for 5th. The final transfer. He's going straight to the AMA. Dave Reeve.
Ralph, one car that's not in the pits tonight is Gary Stanton's Mopar car number 75. That's because Craig Delansky has elected to option and leave the team, and he's back tonight in a new ride. Tell me about this one, Craig.
This one, you know, I met Howie Gleason 3 weeks ago, and we put a deal together to run through the Nationals. I can't thank him and Midwest Underground enough. Hopefully we can get this Polydome car up front. Had a tough time qualifying the night. We went out early and the track got faster as the night went on, so this Kreiner engines are running great, and you know, hopefully we'll just get her up front.
You mentioned through the Nationals. What are your plans beyond that?
I'm going to get my own deal together. We're working on it right now, and you know, we're getting everything together to pick up on the Outlaw deal after the Knoxville Nationals.
Going to start row number 1 for our 3rd heat race. That'll be coming up in just a little bit.
Okay, I thought I was hot down on that starter stand. You saw the perspiration on the brow of Craig Delansky. Stay with us. We'll be back for yet another heat race.
Well, this literally is where the buffalo roam up here in Fargo, North Dakota. An amazing animal. Awesome to see them.
So they're hot with that winter coat on it?
Yeah. And they actually weigh more than the sprint cars you're seeing racing here tonight. You can see how flat the land is, Steve.
And 100 years ago, you'd have probably seen the Great American Bison in multiple numbers out in that prairie land. Bobby Gerald with Steve Kinser.
Well, Steve Kinser gets the win in heat race number 2. And Steve, the big question tonight appears to be tires. Last night, you won the feature event with a 40 tire, but Sammy Swindell was kind of on you with the 62, the next hardest. So what do you think for tonight?
Well, we had to get out on the track early with the sun. It's just now laid rubber down around the bottom. As bad as I hate to say it, I think we're going to put the hard tires on. It's going to be a one-groove racetrack around the bottom. I probably got the right starting spot for it, but I'd rather be able to open the track up and be able to do some passing on it. It's just a shame we had to get on it this early with that sun up that good, but you never know what can happen. They can throw some water on it and maybe bring it back a top groove, but right now it sure looks like it's going to be hard tires and right around the bottom.
All right, Steve, congratulations on the win in heat race number 2. Ralph?
All right, Bobby, thanks. Heat number 3 is out. Here's your lineup for that one. Craig Delansky in the new ride, the 21G. Travis Whitney alongside of him. Wade Nygaard in the 9, and Dale Blaney, the Amoco number 93 in row 2. Slam and Sammy Swindell and Stevie Smith make up row 3. That'll be the hot one to watch. Chad Mellenberg in the 69M and Jimmy Kuba in the 55. And Dan Pape and T. Young rounding out the field. Dave Reeve.
Guy Sammy Swindell kind of struggled a little bit last night, had a fuel pickup problem. They changed tail tanks on that car, all the internal plumbing, trying to find the problem. They think between yesterday and today, they went ahead and found that problem. And this will be a pretty good test for the number 1 car, Sammy Swindell. He starts inside row 3. We'll find out if he got that problem nailed down.
Yeah, they have changed everything on that race car. Last night they changed tank, motor, fuel lines, and it's just a guessing game, and they're very frustrated.
And Sammy still won't say what he thinks exactly was the thing that got fixed.
Yeah. Well, they're not quite sure yet. I talked to him earlier today, but...
or is he holding out on it?
Yeah, he might just be holding out a little bit, too.
We're green right now. We will know instantly if he's found his problem. That's the blue number 1 car.
Craig Dolansky with a great start, and Sammy has problems, and one car spinning into the infield. And it looks like it's stalled on it. Travis Whitney, 7S.
What Sammy says is the car basically feels like it has a governor on it. For what that means is when he gets up to a certain RPM, it's almost like you pull a switch and the engine starts slowing down. And they just, boy, they've been struggling with it.
Well, we'll take care of some more business so that when they come back lined up and go green, we'll be ready to go racing with them. Glad to have you with us from Fargo. Stay with us. We're coming right back. Well, those guys came a long way, didn't they? We are live on TNN's Motor Madness.
Who's Goldberg?
Big wrestler.
Oh.
108, who's next?
You know, I was talking to Don Mack, the promoter here, and he met some people yesterday that drove 900 miles. They've seen it on TNN, and they went to see the World of Outlaws live, and they drove 900 miles to be here.
Of course, you can do that in about 3 hours around here.
Yeah.
I've been vacationing in Montana where the speed limit is prudent and reasonable. It's not a number.
Which
it is
takes you
prudent
completely
and
out of the game.
Absolutely out of the game. I've never been.
The guy that hangs out at the drag races most weekends
right.
and intimidated by the speed there.
Well, we know a lot about prudent, and your wife says you've never been reasonable.
Never both at the same time, I can tell you that.
Sounds like my kind of state, though, actually. Prudent and reasonable, you know, the speed limit.
Actually, the driving is quite safe. They actually do drive prudently and reasonably.
All right, well, these guys won't. That's why we're here. The Pennzoil World of Outlaws going green. And another great start for Delansky. Look at Dale Blaney up high. Brother Dave here watching, too, giving some coaching tips. No Busch Grand National races for him this weekend.
Well, that's a different line. Dale's trying the extreme high side that nobody else has used yet.
Maybe Dave pointed something out.
We just heard Steve Kinzer say it wasn't there.
Fight for third. Sammy, the Channellock car, trying to get in there. Oh, one up along the wall. The 2T. That's T. Young out of Devil's Lake, North Dakota. Well, Sammy was battling it out with Wade Nygaard, who was holding on to third. There's T. Young. The 2T. There's the Channellock number 1. Let's check in with Dave Reef and Shane Carson.
And you talk about somebody who had to drive 900 miles just to watch us. He had to drive 900 miles just to race this thing. But is there anybody down here more in touch with the Outlaws than you? You run 8 to 10 of them a year, and you co-promote 2 of them.
Right, yeah, we have the Oklahoma City shows that I do, and I've done for about 18 years. So, you know, we got our finger on the button. We know kind of what's going on in the Outlaw deal. I don't get to run with them quite as much, but Don Mack and Ted invited me to come up, so here we are.
You had a great race in that heat race there, able to go up and get moved right up into the A main.
Yeah, Dave, you know, right now it's kind of a bottom groove deal like we was talking about. It's taking rubber on the pole, and I was able to stay down there and didn't wear my tires completely out, so we're in.
Well, Steve Kinzer said the same thing, but we've seen Dale Blaney go up there to the top. Must be something up there, too, huh?
Well, I think so. Dave's here. I think the pressure's on.
Oh, ooh, a little foreshadowing. Dave Blaney's here, by the way, guys. So what's your plans? You got any more Outlaw races this year yet?
No, my promotions are done for the year. We'll pick up in March, probably with a couple more next year, so... you know, as soon as they get the scheduling done, we'll be on.
We've just got to focus on driving. He's got the A main coming up later tonight.
Terry McCarl is another Outlaw driver who works as a promoter. He's got a race coming up in Oskaloosa, Iowa, just before the Knoxville Nationals kick off.
Yeah, the Monday before.
Mm-hmm. Terry's already into the A main.
It puts the extra pressure on, talking about Dale Blaney, it puts the extra pressure on when the car owner's around. Just because he's his brother, he doesn't give him any slack. He'll tell him what he's doing wrong.
And let's face it, Dale's filling some pretty big shoes, and it has not been easy for him this year.
No, it's been tough. You know, Dale's been real successful with the All-Star circuit, but boy, you get out here at the World of Outlaws, and you really have to step it up a notch.
He took not only a notch, he said it's 50% tougher here with the World of Outlaws than any other sprint car series. That's why they're the best, and they're green. Boy, he liked that rim ride, too.
Just going to say, he's going up there again, but worked once. Hey.
So does Stevie Smith. He tried it. Maybe he saw Dale up there and decided to give it a try.
Stevie mired back in 5th in the Ingersoll Rand cars. You watch the battle for the lead. Your leader is Craig Delansky in a new ride, and right behind him is that battle for 3rd. The yellow car is Wade Nygaard right from here in Fargo, North Dakota. A little hometown track knowledge. Holding on, one of the best in the business. The blue Channellock car is Sammy Swindell, but no longer. Sammy takes a slide.
Yeah, Nygaard got a little high, got out of the rubber there, slipped the right rear up, and Sammy was able to get by on the inside.
Track knowledge one thing, race knowledge another.
There you go, yep.
Oh, now look at Stevie sliding around. Stevie Smith had the Ingersoll Rand number 19 to the bottom. Tried the top, now he goes to the bottom.
Same thing there again. Nygaard slips up. Stevie Smith will be squirting right by on the inside.
Oh, man, the smoke off of Swindell's tires, it looked like a burnout.
Blue smoke rolling off those right rears. See Dale going now trying the extreme inside of Terry McCarl. Delansky, yeah. Again, if he doesn't want to slip up, it's a fine line. When the track is like this, they talk about the rubber around the bottom. It's a fine line, a probably 8 or 10 inch line that you have to stick that right rear tire in. If you miss it, the car will slide up on you, and it just leaves the racetrack wide open for the guy behind you.
Fight for fourth now. Nygaard, the yellow car. Stevie Smith, the black car. All of these cars have earned transfer spots if they stay where they are, but each position gets you a better starting position in that main event. As the white flag can come out now. Delansky, Blaney, Swindell, Nygaard, and Smith. That's their best fight there. Stevie trying to get a good run up the inside. Can't get him going into 3. To the checkered flag. Delansky gets the win. Blaney, Swindell, and given to Nygaard. He holds off Stevie Smith. Well, that's got to be a big boost for the local kid.
You betcha. Yep.
Stevie Smith has 8 wins on the tour. Nygaard beats him to the line. Bobby Gerald?
Well, with the car painted specially tonight to commemorate the 100th anniversary of trucking, Donnie Schatz sits in his machine ready to go in our final heat race. And Donnie, a return home. If there's anyone who has the local track knowledge here tonight, it is you. Tell me about it.
Well, racetrack was not a real good night to start off the night. We went out early and still a little dust on it and laid a little rubber down, and we qualified 20th for the second night in a row, and that puts us on the front row of the heat. And then if we make the feature, 20th in the show. So we got our work cut out for us tonight, but hopefully we can get this Parker Store car up front.
We want to let all the race fans know that you recently received a very prestigious award from the Associated Press, the Dakota Award, which honors the outstanding athlete in North Dakota. And based on last year being the World of Outlaws Rookie of the Year, you were the winner. So congratulations. How'd that make you feel?
Thanks. It's a confidence booster. We need that right now, and just an honor to be able to accept the award.
He's got a lot of fans up in the stands. Go give him heck, Donnie.
There's a part of this partisan crowd cheering on Donnie Schatz, who we'll get to see in heat number 4 when we come back.
Brought to you by the more than 1,900 AutoZone stores across America. AutoZone, the best parts in auto parts.
Got to give a big thumbs up to Don Mack and Bruce Olson of this Red River Valley Speedway. They've done a great job in preparing this place. It is truly a show place now on the Outlaw Tour, Dave Reed.
Also got to give the thumbs up to Craig Delansky for going ahead and winning that race from the pole. You didn't time real well tonight, but that almost was a blessing in disguise, wasn't it?
Yeah, it helps you start in the front of the heat race, but that doesn't do nothing for you, I mean, we're going to have to start in the back of the feature, and hopefully we can get this Polydome car up to the front.
Awful slick out there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, and we took a chance running the used tire in the right rear here, and it worked out for us, got the job done. These Kreiner motors, I tell you what, they just speak for themselves. They're great motors, and, hopefully we can get this Polydome up to the front of the feature.
How big of a gamble was Craig Delansky using that used 25C? Well, that could be half the reason for Craig Delansky catching the 21G as it was Dale coming to the front, guys.
It's definitely used now. Let's take you right to the lineup for heat number 4. We'll take 5 more cars. Chuck Swenson, Donnie Schatz in row number 1, Joe Gertie and Danny Smith, Johnny Herrera and Andy Hillenberg in row number 3, Pat Miller and Jason Linnell in row number 4. And Mark Dobmeyer rounds out the field. But we do have 2 in-cars with you in heat number 4. Here's a view from Donnie Schatz up on row number 1 on the outside of that row. So there's off the backside of Johnny Herrera in the 47, Gil Saunders' car.
That tire we saw, Steve, you can relate to this. The tire actually, when it gets wore down and gets the grooves wore off, the car actually gets hooked up tighter to a point till it gets down to the cords, and then you really get loose and you blow the tire. But when the tire, you get more rubber on the surface like a drag car.
Exactly. There's more contact then.
We're green, heat 4. Chuck Swenson takes the lead in the yellow number X. The number at X, letter at X. Schatz runs in second.
Oh, and Andy Hillenberg and Johnny Herrera got together a little bit down in turn 4.
Third is Danny Smith in the 21S. Gertie's falling back. Schatz takes the lead
And
as
the
you
crowd,
watch Herrera.
and the crowd went wild too, Ralph. They already done.
Shots out front. Swenson runs second. Then it's Smith, Herrera, and Hillenberg. Gertie one spot out of a transfer now.
I'll tell you, this crowd is not just for Donnie Schatz. I mean, obviously he's a local favorite, but last night they were standing up and cheering in the dash, the heats. I mean, the crowd loves the World of Outlaws here.
Danny Smith to the inside, and Swenson to take over second from the Watertown, South Dakota native.
It is a shame that Schatz didn't time trial a little better and have a better spot in the A main to really give this crowd a thrill. But who's to say he can come from back?
Swenson in that yellow X trying to hang on now as Johnny Herrera comes charging up to the outside. Look at the sun right into his face.
And that's the glare. I've talked about it before, that, you know, when you get tear-offs on and things, and that sun with looking through a plastic shield, look how close they come.
Slicing and dicing, just missing those giant implement tires painted white there, and boy, they'll hurt if you hit them.
Now, people might get tired of hearing this, but again, the driver can't see the front tires, the nose wing, or anything on these race cars. It's all just a feel of where all that stuff is.
Brad, we never get tired of hearing that from you.
There he goes, to the outside, trying to make a run at him, couldn't get him.
Well, you know, it's hard to explain to people. I mean, there he goes.
Right to the inside goes Hollywood Herrera. Now Andy Hillenberg will size up Swenson, and Gertie hoping to get a shot at him too. He's one spot out of a transfer. Meanwhile, with just 2 to go, the local boy making good.
Only 20 years of age, Donnie Schatz.
Now Andy Hillenberg, black number 2 out of Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, trying to get after Swenson. Working him on the bottom side. Look at the smoke pouring off of the tires on Swenson. Remember, Hillenberg runs McCrary. Checkered flag for Schatz. Second goes to Smith. Third to Herrera. Here they come to the line. Swenson's going to hang on. Hillenberg comes home 5th. Gertie, frustrated, in 6th.
And the crowd loving Donnie Schatz.
And boy, you can spot that car out there in the crowd, can't you?
Listen to him.
They got banned. Oh, man, it's a standing O for the local hero.
A lot of pressure on that young man here this weekend.
You know, we've talked about it before when Stevie Smith went home to Pennsylvania and had some bad luck. Anytime you go home, it does add a lot of pressure because your sponsor's usually there and the fans are there, and it takes a lot more of your time with autograph sessions and things like that, and it's hard to stay focused on the race team. And boy, he's got to be enjoying it, running that good. And who knows, like you said, Steve, the way this racetrack is and stuff, it's really important on chassis setup more so than engine, so a guy could come from the back.
Well, let's check in with Dave Reef. He's standing by with a guy who's a long way from home.
Long way from home, indeed, and a long way from feeling good tonight. Sammy Swindell, very focused individual down here, has problems once again on the channel lock car. I asked him specifically, what is your problem? Is it a fuel pickup problem? Like last night, he just looked me in the eye and said, if I knew what the problem was, I'd have fixed it by now. So it's very strenuous down here.
Not a good time to talk to Sammy. Good job, David.
As you can see, Sammy is a hands-on mechanic. I mean, he's very focused and knows what he's doing on that race car, and not being able to find it is very frustrating.
Well, Bobby, as he came across to take the checkered flag, the crowd was cheering for him. Could he hear it down in the race car, Donnie Schatz?
We'll ask him that in a second, but not only is he popular in the stands, look at how popular he is here in the pits. Actually, they don't love Donnie Schatz. They just want to look at his tires. Danny Lasowski, Jeff Swindell, all these guys are over here. You wish they'd come over here to congratulate you, don't you, Donnie? I just wish they'd come over and congratulate after I beat him in a feature, hopefully. Heat races don't count. Now, were you able to get a feel for how crazy the crowd was going as you crossed the checkered flag? I mean, these people were standing for you, Donnie.
Well, it makes me feel good, you know. It's always a confidence booster to come back here, and we just wish we could do that. And one race later, you know, our chances aren't real good starting 20th, but, you know, maybe we can pull it off.
I want to ask you real quick, because Brad and Ralph were talking about it. How bad is the sun for you guys right now going into turn 1?
Well, I got tape on the car. The sun's real bad. I crashed 2 weeks ago in Lincoln because of the sun, and you know, I just kind of ignored it all night long. But it's a real big factor when the sun gets so far down. It's shining right in your eyes, and it's one thing if you don't have a helmet on, but if you got a helmet on and you got 10 tear-offs, then it really makes a lot of glare in your face.
Congratulations on the win.
Thanks.
What he was saying there, but the tape is across the front of the roll cage. It's just a sun visor to help shield the sun, and they'll get it clear down to where they might only be looking through a couple of inches above the. Okay, there it is. As you can see, there's what, 4, 5, 6 inches that he's looking through there.
If that.
Yeah.
I mean, the gap between the top of the steering wheel and the bottom of the tape is.
Well, the steering wheel, they got it. It's off, and but But there's the glare. As the camera moved down, you can see the glare looking them right in the eyes down the front straightaway. There it is. That's what it looks like from the driver's point of view down the front straightaway.
Take note of all the holes as well, drilled into that steering wheel. Every one of those holes takes a little weight out of the car, doesn't it?
Very critical. These guys, we've talked about it before, spent a lot of money. That was a cheap way to do it there. Just took some time, but yep, that's how important it is.
Ounces make a whole lot of difference when you got 800 horsepower, breathing on alcohol, 11 and 1,100 pounds. What a great piece of machinery. Welcome back to Fargo, North Dakota. First time TNN's ever been here with the Pennzoil World of Outlaws. We're really excited about bringing live motorsports coverage to the Dakotas for the first time. It's great to go to these new venues, and this one at the Red River Valley Speedway, one of the finest we've seen on the tour. Let's check in with a guy who hails out of Missouri, and Bobby, he's pretty quick tonight, too.
Yes, he has been. He's been quick all season, really coming on. I guess if it weren't for a couple of DNFs at the beginning of the season, this guy would be higher in the points, and right now, you and Johnny Herrera are locked in a fierce battle for 6th place in the points. You're 7th, about 2 in back of him, and what do you think, dude? Can you catch him?
Oh, we sure hope so. Dennis Ross gave us a real good team this year, and we're trying our best to fight out of the hole we left ourselves after the first part of the year. And my guys are working real hard, and I just hope I can do a good job driving for them.
All right, now what we want to do is ask you to put on your professor's hat. So let's do that. Let's go over here and let's take us to tire school, Danny. We see these guys after the heat races. They all come over here and they start doing this. They start touching it, and they're looking for different things. What specifically are you guys looking for when you come over here and start looking at the competitor tires?
Well, the first thing you look for is you see how much heat's in a tire on the outside edge and on the inside edge, and if it blistered at all. And you can see my tire here started blistering. That usually means that I had a little bit too much stagger. And the tire heat here is real critical, because if you get them too hot and start blistering, they're going to pop. So you got to go to the next compound hider.
And we were asking the guys last night about what kind of compound you think it's going to take to win the feature event tonight. Last night it was a 40 compound, but there's one harder than that, the 62. Do you think that's what we'll see tonight?
I think with the sun out like it is, I think you're going to see a 62 on the right rear and a 40 on the left rear just to make 30 laps. And you guys are going to take care of his tires and be there at the end.
And what does that mean in English, Professor?
Patience, and that's what I don't have much of.
All right. Danny Lasowski, fair enough. Dave Reeve?
Bobby, I'm down in Jack Hounshaw's pit where the maintenance is done. The new fuel pump's put in. They just fired the car and warmed it up. While Jack gets a chance to sit back here and get ready for what is going to be another exciting run for you. We've seen it many times. Problems happen, and you come screaming through the B and screaming through the A. How do you get yourself ready for that?
Well, you know, the car's been running real good, so, you know, I think we can get up through there, get up through the pack. The Pennzoil car's been pretty quick lately. I mean, it's been running good, so we had a little bad luck tonight and had some parts fail on us, so it's going to put us in the B main, so we got to try and get up through there.
Does stuff like this get you down? Because it happens so often. I assume you're getting kind of used to it, but then again, it's still got to be disappointing.
Yeah, you hate to get used to it. You know, we just, when parts break or stuff or whatever, you crash or whatever, you just try and forget about it and just think about going on and trying to go to the front.
Is that where the Wild Child moniker comes from then, just screaming from the tail?
I guess so.
Well, we'll have to see if he can get it done again tonight. You'll run the B. One of the other disabilities you're facing going into this thing is you didn't get a chance to go out there and run that racetrack in during the heats. So that could be a decided disadvantage as well.
Yeah, it really is. We don't know where we're at right now, and so we just changed the car around, and track's got quite a bit of rubber down, so hopefully we can just find the right line out there, and the car will feel all right, and we'll get the Jack Eldon car up through there.
Well, if he's going to get that top 5 finish we were talking about earlier, it's really going to be exciting now coming from the B guys.
Well, there's one thing Jack is not afraid to do, Brad, and that is stand on the gas.
That's true. And he's one of the most laid-back guys, though. I mean, he doesn't get too excited about anything.
You'd never expect it if you just met him.
No.
Wait till you watch him race. Stay with us. Coming back to the Dakotas.
Welcome back to the River Valley Speedway here in Fargo. We talked about Donnie Schatz, the hometown guy. Take a look at this. Donnie Schatz. Donnie Schatz. We got Donnie Schatz fans everywhere. You guys enjoyed seeing that heat victory, didn't you?
You bet we did.
You'll root for Donnie in the A?
Yeah.
I'll tell you one thing Donnie Schatz will never have on his car, and that's one of those bras, you know, like guys put in the front of Camaros and Firebirds, and in rich neighborhoods, they got them on Porsches and BMWs and Jaguars. And if you can't afford to paint your car after a few rock bruises, I mean, you know, what's the deal? I never thought I would see bras in the world of Outlaws. But as Bobby Gerald told us earlier, yep, they're here. Unbelievable. Can't believe it.
Dirt racetracks are not comprised only of dirt. You'll find a lot of rocks in the dirt racetracks across America, some the size of this boulder that we found here at the Red River Valley Speedway, some even this small like this pebble, but you might be surprised to learn that even a pebble this size can inflict some damage. Let's take a look at the hood that Joe Gertie has been using for the last 6 races on the World of Outlaws Tour, and you can see from the paint chips that it has taken a lot of abuse. Also absorbing abuse, the front wing, the hood, the front of the roll cage, which is protected by a rock screen, and the top wing. When it comes to the top wings, keeping the integrity of the front of the top wing in place is very important. The aerodynamics can be affected by a small rock. Take a look at this wing here that we have of Joe Gertie's. Here's what a rock did to it. And what it did was it created a flat spot here so that it's no longer aerodynamic. The air wants to flow over both sides, not just stop right here. Now, how do you remedy that problem? Well, they've come up with this right here. It's a nose cap for the top wings. They also make them for the front wings. They cost right around $200. You slide them in place and secure them. Now you've patched your hole and also made the front of your wing stronger because of the heavy-duty material that the Kevlar and carbon fiber is made up of. Joe Gertie is using them right here on the front wing and on the top wing, and the 1997 World of Outlaws champion, Sammy Swindell, also has them on his top wing and his front wing. The drivers and teams are telling us that they're getting more life than they ever have before out of their wing sets.
Well, it's the same principles as those bras, you know what I mean, huh? You've seen them around. Well, gang, you having a good time tonight, everybody?
You bet we're having a good time.
And we have just gotten started. Why don't you all say, we'll be right back to Fargo after this, right now.
We'll be right back after Fargo after this.
They'd have been, I'm out of a job.
Yeah. All right. Being the leader in live Pennzoil World of Outlaw coverage, TNN is excited to announce that next weekend we got a doubleheader with the Outlaws. It all begins next Friday night on TNN Motor Madness. These same cars from the Pennzoil World of Outlaws will be in Rossburg, Ohio for the Eldora Clash. Check it out next Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern on TNN Motor Madness. And then on Saturday night, the World of Outlaws in the King's Royal. $50,000 up for grabs to win the first race of the month of money. Bobby Jarrell.
Well, Ralph, here's a guy that knows a whole lot about the month of money because last year he took home a good portion of the money that's going to be given out in sprint car racing over the next month. And that, of course, is Dave Blaney, who is driving in the NASCAR Busch Grand National Series right now. And Dave, it's good to see you back here at the sprint car races, first of all, but you probably ought to tell the fans, now, are you back here in your ownership capacity, or what brings you back tonight?
Just a spectator capacity, I think. You know, we've been so busy. I've only been able to spend, I think, two nights with Dale and Kenny and the whole team. So, you know, we raced Milwaukee last weekend, so I was up in this part of the country, so I need to come spend some time with them.
Now, I've got to ask you this because the sprint car fans would be mad if I didn't. Are you ever going to race the sprint car again, or this season? All those money races are coming up, and there was some speculation, but will the stock car duties keep you bound?
Well, I need to concentrate on the stock car, and I need to stay there, and actually we need to brainwash all this sprint car stuff out of me. I don't know if I want to do that, but it seems necessary, so we'll do whatever it takes to get going down there.
3 solid finishes in the Busch Series in the last 3 races, so things are looking up there.
Well, yeah, we're making progress. You know, we knew it was going to be tough. I knew it was going to be tough, and the team did. And as long as we're making progress, and we are, you know, there's been times where we've been pretty quick and just, but can't seem to put a real good race together, a good finish. But you know, we're just needing a little time, a little more experience, a little more confidence. Same things Dale's needing.
And Dave Blaney is down here enjoying the sprint car races. We're about ready to go with the C-Main. Good to see you again, Dave. Ralph.
All right, Bobby. Thanks. Here's your lineup for the C-Main. Jimmy Kuba and Jason Linnell in row number 1. Now, Mike Johnson and Randy Butler, Dan Pape and Mark Dobmeyer, Scott McDonald and Jason Wentz, rounding out row number 4. T. Young and Eddie Lynch in the 29L.
That's not Ed Lynch Jr. from Western Pennsylvania.
No.
And 4 will transfer. They'll tag the back of the B. The rest will beat the traffic.
And there's going to be a lot of it.
Jumping into the lead is the 5. Looks like Randy Butler.
Getting ready to come out of the second row. He's got a nice start. Oh, we got some smoke out of the 2 chief lead.
T. Young. Smoking bad. Remember, he had problems in his heat race.
Spun it out.
big problems here in the sea.
Yeah, there's a lot of mosquitoes, though, guys. Maybe we ought to just leave him out there.
Fine with me.
Whoa.
Yeah, we talked about the glare. Then you add some smoke into that with these drivers. That definitely helps or hurts their vision down this front straightaway.
And I think he's getting a little of his own oil on at least that left rear tire.
Yeah, it looks like it's shaking him loose, doesn't it, Steve? I guess in the corner.
The 55 there is Jimmy Kuba, who started up on the front. He's battling for the 16W of Jason Wendt. This is a fight for third. 13 holds on in position of second right now, Mark Dobmeyer. The 2 has been black flagged. Depends on World of Outlaw official Bobby Jackson trying to get him in. A little fire under the engine.
Yeah, when it blows the oil out like that, it gets, when you slow down, especially these alcohol engines, burp a little flame out the headers, and sometimes it'll ignite that oil.
But when they're right, when you've got a Steve Kinzer, a Sammy Swindell, you got 800 horsepower and about a 90-inch wheelbase.
Juneau, Wisconsin is where our leader comes from, Randy Butler, with 3 laps to go here in the number 5. Position change now for third. Give it to the 16W of Jason Wendt out of Sioux Falls, South Dakota. He gets around Cuba out of Byron, Minnesota.
Tremendous turnout of Dakota iron here. I just counted on the entry list tonight. There are 16 cars from the Dakotas.
There's the 16 of Wendt. He'll be going on to the B main. Leader comes across to take the white flag. Mark Dobmeyer out of Grand Forks, North Dakota, running in second. 4 cars going on to the B main. Trying to keep it straight, not make any mistakes. He'll pick up the C main victory here tonight. Second comes across the line. The 13 of Dobmeyer, the 16 of Wendt, and the 55 of Jimmy Kuba all go on to the B main. The 33 car, Scott McDonald out of Fisher, Minnesota, comes up 1 spot short in an early trip into the grandstand.
If you can find a seat.
Yeah, not many here tonight. Well, Broken Arrow, Oklahoma's Andy Hillenberg, Dave, he's going on to the A main.
He is. He's getting ready to go out onto the dash. Ralph, one thing we've talked a lot about tonight is Goodyear tires, but we haven't had a chance to catch up with Andy to find out how McCreary handles this racetrack tonight.
Well, pretty much when rubber's down, all the tires are pretty much the same, but I think we've got a hard enough tire. We'll probably run a MD-57 tonight, and that should make it in the feature.
And that's their hard enough compound. You got a good advantage tonight because you qualified well. It's something I guess been a little bit of a nemesis this year.
Well, we drew a 52, and we thought that was bad, and the track got faster at the end. It started spotting rubber, so we were fortunate to draw a bad number tonight. So worked out for us, and maybe we'll just see how things go tonight. Maybe we'll end up front.
Yeah, that'd be nice. It'll be his 3rd win of the year. He will start the dash 3rd.
He picked up wins at Elbridge, New York, and on the big mile at Springfield. Third Wing Mania, you betcha.
With a new Klein engine this year on the World of Outlaw Tour. 2 wins, not too bad.
Some of the nicest folks we've met on the tour right here in the Fargo area, and I'll tell you what, Steve, they have thrown the gauntlet down across the country to other racetrack fans at places like, the Grove in Pennsylvania, or Knoxville, or Chico out in California. The folks here in Fargo trying to lay claim to being some of the best sprint car fans in the business.
They're knowledgeable, they're nice, and they enjoy every second of the experience here at the Red River Valley Raceway. Bobby Gerald?
And they're having fun watching guys like Tyler Walker make circles here on the half mile, and Tyler's going to be starting outside the front row of that dash. And Tyler, right there next to the king, Steve Kinzer on the inside of the front row. What's it going to be like going into turn 1?
Well, hopefully I'll be in front of the king. You know, my guys are doing a great job. Ricky Warner, Jack, Bruce, and Scott, you know, they got the car real nice, and it's up to me now. I just got to say hi to my dad and everybody at home. I love you, Ashley, and Mom, I hope you're doing all right. Talk to you guys later.
Tyler, let me ask you this. You've now reached right at the midway point of this World of Outlaw season, and so if you had to assess yourself and how you've done here in your first full year on the tour, what do you think?
Well, we've had our hit and miss moments. You know, we get consistently in the top 8, top 7, and then we'll have a few nights where we don't do so good. But we're just trying to get a little bit more consistent. And we've been fast, we've been good. I got a lot to learn, but I think I got a lot of time to learn it. So try not to be too hard on myself. But I'm pretty competitive, and I ended up being pretty hard on myself.
And hard on your race car, too. We don't want to see you punching this thing tonight, Tyler.
Yeah, that won't happen anymore. Aircep doing a great job, and K&N air filters, Shaver engines, and Eagle chassis.
Good luck in the dash. Tyler Walker outside the front row with the King on the inside.
Yeah. Well, he does have a couple of thirds. In fact, they both came at Hofstad, Indiana. Maybe tonight, maybe the Dakotas will smile on him and he'll get a win. Stay with us. They're known for Donnie shots in Buffalo up here, but they're known for one other person as well. Guy that they're all chasing in Major League Baseball this year, Roger Maris, hails from right here. You had a chance to meet him, didn't you?
On several occasions. After baseball, he was a beer distributor down in north central Florida around the Gainesville area, and he loved to come to the races. Every year he would show up at the Gator Nationals drag races and sit up there and just enjoy himself thoroughly.
Hit the bigs, huh?
Yep, you betcha.
All right. My kind of guy. Dave Reed.
Ralph, the guy they were chasing in the C main, was this guy, Randy Butler, who started on the pole, was able to run away. But things haven't been going as good. Last night you made the A, started 18th, but had a problem with the car, and that could be what's getting you a little bit down tonight.
Yeah, the motor's a little sour yet, so we're trying to figure that out. And that hurt us qualifying. It was running real flat, and we changed some things now again. Hopefully it'll run a little better. But, you know, last night we qualified good and made it through the heat. And, you know, that was a nice way. Tonight's pretty tough, and to make it through the B is pretty much impossible on a racetrack like this. So.
And now he goes to the tail of the B main. But, hey, this guy's still doing a great job. It's only his 8th night of racing. Way to go, man.
Thank you.
That ain't bad. Not bad at all. But, you know, you guys talking about when he's mentioned on a racetrack like this, but, you know, the other extreme, like you talked earlier, Ralph, the racetrack is so wet, sticky, and fast, you run wide open and nobody hardly passes anybody. So, really, the chances of coming from the rear are better on a track like this than a wet, sticky track.
Interesting, too. The dash is setting up now. These are the killer cars, the hitter cars from time trials. There's money at stake. Steve Kinzer was reading an article in the local paper this morning that Bobby showed you on camera. And Kinzer said, yeah, I used the dash to try something. It didn't work. I went back to my setup and won the A feature. So even though there's starting position at stake here and some extra cash, a guy like Kinzer says, this is the time. This is free testing.
Right. It's another hot lap session, and it is critical where they finish to where they start, but, you know, they will try things.
Well, the big names are out with one to go. Here's your lineup. Steve Kinzer and Tyler Walker on row number 1. Andy Hillenberg and Stevie Smith. The Dude and Mark Kinzer in row 3. And Slammin' Sammy and Hollywood Herrera make up row number 4. This is going to be a good one. On board with Johnny Herrera, that's the view you get as you look at Mark Kinzer just in front of you and Daniel Lasowski in the Beef Packers car just to your left.
Have I mentioned they can't see the front tires?
You've mentioned.
Oh, okay. Just a
good point, though.
Let's see what Tyler can do with Kinzer. The answer is nothing.
Look at the starts that he's getting.
Well, I figured
Stevie Smith to the outside, high up top.
I figured Steve would have the advantage down there in the rubber. The high groove was a little slicker up there on the starts, and Steve did take advantage of it.
Mark Kinzer's got the working 5M working up top.
Hey, he showed 2 grooves there, one on the outside.
It's Steve Kinzer, Tyler Walker, Stevie Smith in 3rd, Mark Kinzer's 4th, Andy Hillenberg is 5th, Danny Lasowski 6th, and it's Sammy and Herrera. That's your 8th.
Sammy has not found his problem, does not have the 800 horsepower we talked about that he should have.
Dude, to the outside of the Beef Packers car, trying to get around that Ingersoll Rand machine of Stevie Smith, and it didn't work that time.
Yeah, he just got up a little bit too high there, Ralph. Got the right up in the loose stuff, and it cost him. Sammy really closed in on him.
Yep, that blue channel lock number 1 closed it up. Steve Kinzer continues to lead. You see Herrera bringing up the back of the freight train and Gil Saunders' car. There's Sammy. Doesn't look like they've got everything dialed out of that. You go on board with Herrera chasing Sammy Swindell with the white flag coming out this time by.
Steve Kinzer has got to be smiling so, I mean, in that helmet right now, just loving the way this race car feels. If you watch him come off the corners, you can see the elbows not moving a lot. That means the car's working well.
There's your fight for 3rd. The black car, Stevie Smith. The white car is Mark Kinzer. The win to Steve Kinzer. 2nd goes to Tyler. Here comes your fight for 3rd. Give it to Stevie Smith. 4th to Mark Kinzer. 5th to Lasowski, who gets her Hillenberg coming off the 4th turn. Then Sammy and Herrera rounding out the field of 8. Wow, that's a big move by Lasowski to pick up a position. That'll help out in the main. But, guys, nobody can run with the King. Think Guy Forbrook has helped out a little bit over there?
I would say so.
Absolutely. Stay with us. Well, nobody could touch Steve Kinzer last night in the A main here at Red River Valley Speedway, and the way things are going, the Duel in the Dakotas ain't going to be much of a fight. He has been awesome, Bobby.
Yes, he has. Last night here during the A feature, traffic was a big factor. There's a big differential in speed between the top 16 or 18 World of Outlaws cars and some of the guys who are filling in the field here. And so, Steve, let's look ahead to that feature event and the racetrack being a little different tonight. What do you think about the traffic?
Well, it's definitely going to be a big part of it. Probably all of it, I'd say. There's a lot of traffic and quite a bit, like I said, quite a bit of difference in some of it. So a lot of it has to do with whether the track can get it to come back on the top or not, which it looks like it might have a chance. It was pretty loose around the bottom there. Everybody was loose, but they're going to water the top, and we'll see what happens. Myself, I just assume get that top groove back up, but I'm in a pretty good spot if it don't come back in the bottoms there too. So, but everybody. But I think if the track moves up where you can get on the top of it and run, you're going to see better racing and more passing.
All right. Congratulations on the win. Steve Kinzer will start from the pole.
What Steve was talking about there, usually when you're starting on the front row, you like a single-lane racetrack because it's harder for the guys to pass you. But there is such a speed difference between the slower cars that you got to be able to move around in the racetrack to get by the lap cars. So he's worried about starting on the front row. If he gets the lap cars and they're running his groove, if you move off that groove, you slide all over the racetrack and you can get past. So that's why Steve would like to see the top come in.
Well, apparently we are experiencing some technical difficulties. We are having a little trouble, I guess, with our signal. If you're not reaching it perfectly at home, keep the audio portion right there for you so you can hear at least what we have happening here at the Red River Valley Speedway. CNN Motorsports trying to bring you live coverage, and apparently we're back now. All right, great.
I was going to say welcome to World of Outlaws Radio, but I guess I don't have to. Well, as Steve said, they're going to put some water down on this racetrack. They'll also put some vehicles out there, push trucks and Jeeps and whatever they can find, to try to push some of that water down into the dirt rather than just laying on top and being slick.
Guy Forbrook has moved over from Jack Elden Racing and Jack Hodenshield to now work with Steve Kinzer. So what happens to the guy who was the crew chief there, Scott Gherkin? He is standing by with Dave Reed.
Well, Ralph, you think he might be talking about vacation plans or about how he's going to spend all this wonderful time with his family, but believe it or not, he's over here talking strategy for tonight's A-Main with the Greg Hodden's crew chief, Sonny Kratzer. But, hey, as you get ready to head out of here, what's going on in your mind?
Oh, probably a lot of different emotions. I've always loved sprint car racing. I've done it most of my adult life. But it comes a point in time where you got to kind of move on. I got my wife Sharon and my two daughters Sarah and Samantha at home. I need to spend time with them and just sort of come to that time in my life where I need to do something different.
We talked about this before the race tonight. You've been out here a lot of years. In fact, you probably can't even remember how many.
No, really, I can't. It's been several years. I started probably on the road actually with Mark Kinzer when he started racing, and that's been a few years ago.
Now, as you get back to move back to Indiana, do you have any plans to maybe try to help out in a race shop, or are you going to remove yourself totally from racing?
No, I can't picture removing myself totally from it. For right now, I'm going to go home, just try to be able to spend some time with them, and who knows, what the future might hold.
Now, give me an honest prediction. How long it's going to be before you think you start getting that bug again?
Oh, it's hard. It's hard to say. You can get it pretty quick. You spend a couple of months home in the wintertime, and usually you're about ready to go again. So, we'll see how things work out.
Well, I guarantee however long he thinks it's going to be divided in two. That's how it usually works for me. But, Scott, we wish you the best of luck as you move on.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Scott said earlier today, he told me, I'm just getting a little bit burned out. I've been doing this a very, very long time, and all this travel. I want to get home, spend some time with his family. He had been thinking about doing this before the situation with Forbrook had even come up. So this is not him being forced out in any way, shape, or form. Strictly his decision. Well, stay with us. We're going to come right back. They're working this racetrack in a little bit. The Duel in the Dakotas coming on back to Red River Valley. We're back. The sun trying to set here at the Red River Valley Speedway. It'll take until about midnight for it to get dark around here.
It'll be up in 2 hours, I guess.
That's right. It's time for our Miller Lite News and Notes, which, of course, is qualifying for the Jiffy Lube 300 at New Hampshire International Speedway. Ricky Craven.
Wow.
Can you say comeback in a big way?
Unbelievable.
He's been out of the car trying to get himself back together, a post-concussion syndrome that he's been dealing with. Jeff Gordon right there with him. Chevy's on top of Dale Jarrett. Chad Little with a great qualifying effort in the Roush machine. So 2 Hendrick cars, a Yates machine, and 2 Roush cars in the top 5. That is your top 5. And don't forget, of course, you can see the Jiffy Lube 300 on TNN this Sunday. Coverage starts at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time with the Jiffy Lube 300 preview. The race will kick off at 1.
Crew chief's looking for lightweight drivers. There's a couple right there.
Andy Hillenberg's kids playing in the grandstand.
Hey, look. Having fun.
Oh, yeah.
Broken Arrow, Oklahoma kids.
Well, you know, we talked about the local hero, Donnie Schatz, and it's a big weekend for him, racing in front of the hometown crowd. Well, Dave Reith had the opportunity to sit down with Donnie earlier, talk about the world of Donnie Schatz.
When you think of sprint car racing states, North Dakota doesn't exactly come to mind real quick, but that didn't keep this young man from getting involved in sprint car racing a few years ago. Everybody knows Donnie Schatz, the 20-year-old who was the 1997 Rookie of the Year, but North Dakota, how did you get started here?
Well, actually, my dad had some friends that were involved in sprint car racing, and he was actually a sprint car racer himself. And we got to racing the go-karts, and it was just where it wasn't fun anymore, and we wanted to try something different, and it was kind of an exotic move into the sprint cars. But, you know, we adapted well, and we were having a lot of fun, so here we are today.
You mentioned your dad was involved with the sport. You had a pretty big-name driver that your dad's name was on the side of the car back in the 70s.
Yeah, he used to sponsor Doug Howells, and at the time, Doug Wolfgang used to drive for Doug Howells. So, you know, he's been involved in this a long time, and I guess he's still going.
I guess you would have to call this your home track as far as the World of Outlaws are concerned. Mine out some 250 miles away, but this is the home track.
Right. I got raced around here a lot of times. You know, fans have been real good to me here. They treat me like I'm home, so, you know, I feel like I'm home right here tonight, and, you know, hopefully I don't let my fans down, and we can come away with a win.
Home track, you have some winning experience here, too, running in the 360 division, right?
Well, we won a few 360 races around here. It took me a long time to get going around this racetrack in a 360. You know, we were pretty disappointed that we'd go good on the short tracks and then real slow on the big tracks. And now reverse psychology's happened. We're pretty good on the big tracks, and we're real bad on the short tracks. But, yeah, we won a few races here, and just glad to be back here in the home state of Fargo.
Some of those wins come during your high school days where must have been pretty busy balancing sprint car racing, class work, and I guess you were a hockey player too, huh?
Yeah, I played a little hockey in the winter, and I went to school. It was a lot of fun, but yet it got to be hard work. But it's tough to really concentrate on school when you're sitting in class thinking about what you're going to do at the races this weekend.
Where do you see yourself going from here?
Well, I'd like to stay right here with the World Outlaws. I really love the dirt racing, and I don't think there's any better competition level than there is right here. Maybe we could stay here, maybe not. I don't know. I guess the only type of car I ever wanted to get into other than the sprint car was an Indy car, and right now that the IRL deal is taking off so well that I think it's just going to be there's going to be lack of opportunities for the World Outlaw drivers. So maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't, but I'm very happy with the World Outlaws.
As much at home with the World of Outlaws as he is home right here in Fargo, North Dakota.
I think a lot of people like to see some of the Outlaw drivers get a shot at some IRL rides. Had an opportunity to talk to Steve about that earlier today, and he said, no, nothing really moving there for me. And I know Hod has thought about it, but nothing really happening there.
Hodenshield dearly wants to run an Indy car, and this is, could be his best opportunity with the IRL, and he's been making phone calls and really pushing for it.
Now they're still working on the track here at the Red River Valley Speedway. That's fine with us. We're just enjoying the night here in Fargo. Hope you are too. We'll be right back. Myrtle Beach 250 tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on TNN Motorsports. And if you're wondering why Dave Blaney ain't going to be there, he's not supposed to be. He wasn't actually scheduled to race the entire schedule this year, so that's why he is here with us. Bobby?
Well, we've heard from Scott Gherkin and we heard from Steve Kinzer, but we haven't heard from Guy Forbrook yet. So here's Guy Forbrook, the newest member of the Kinzer racing team, and I guess that becomes official after tomorrow night. Scott's going to be working his last race. How'd this deal come about for you, Guy?
Well, we talked about it a little bit after I went home, and I wasn't really sure I wanted to do it. I still want to do my own team down the road in the future. And when I went home, I just wanted a break, and I wanted to see what my avenues were and see if I could get my own corporate sponsor and get out there and run a team.
So far, has it been a smooth transition for you? I mean, obviously, you guys won last night, and you won big time, so you and Scott seem to work pretty well together.
Yeah, we kind of started a little bit at Knoxville about a week ago, but it's been all right. We ran Houston's together, and Scott's a really sharp guy. Steve's a good driver. I mean, this is a really good team. I'd wish Scott stay here. It'd actually be a really good team then, you know. But I guess he wants to go home. But we're gonna give it our best shot. Me and Steve are gonna give it a try and go from there.
Brad Doty and I were talking earlier today about what your strength was. So why not pose the question to you? One was saying chassis, one was saying engine. We know you're both really good at both of those, but do you think you're a little better at one than the other?
Oh, I don't know. I like to think that our Gertie motors ran really good that I had. I think we set like 18 or 19 fast times last year, and the cars were good. One good thing about this transition, it was a Maxim car at the Pennzoil team, and this is a Maxim car, so it was a pretty easy transition, and I'm basically just kind of doing the same stuff.
All right, well, you're doing well so far, and welcome to Kinzer Racing, Guy.
Thank you.
Steve Evans?
Nice job, Bobby. And you're looking at a monitor here in what would appear to be a sports bar. And it kind of is a sports bar. It's called Wheels, and it's under the grandstand here at Red River Valley Speedway. It's got all of the stuff, the memorabilia, everything, rowdy fans, everything works. They do like the fermented malt beverages here in Fargo. See, you come over here, they ID check you here. You buy these little coupons, and you take these little coupons. Excuse me, guys, I'm coming through here. You bring those little coupons over here. Excuse me, guys. And if you don't like waiting in line, let's go over here. You can get the 64-ounce special. After one of these, you definitely need a designated driver. You might want to go for something just a little bit smaller. Oh, my God. They'll refill these. Dave Reef, we'll meet here later. Thanks, girls.
I'm down with Joe Gerties. He gets set to run in tonight's B main. Joe, you guys have been a little bit behind the 8-ball today.
Yeah, we kind of got a little bit messed up on our setup. We kind of changed a little bit from last night. The racetrack hasn't really changed a whole lot, so we're kind of behind, and then we end up in the B main because of it.
Do you get to go out there and run some good laps, though, and try to get a gauge of what the A main's going to do? Does that actually become an advantage at that point?
Well, it can be, you know. It's just more time on a racetrack, but it's also another chance to get in a possible wreck or have a problem, you know. So you don't want to run them if you don't have to, but sometimes it can be an advantage.
And it's also a couple more tires. What do you guys think you're going to go with here as you're starting from the outside of the front row?
Well, we're going to take a gamble here and go with some softer tires than most people because the outside doesn't seem to be a real big advantage tonight on the start. Hopefully the soft tires will get us to the bottom in a hurry, and maybe we can make them last.
Darren Pittman will be starting inside of him, and watch for maybe the 8H car to get a little bit of a jump, too. See if they allow that off of turn 4. Just to keep you updated what's going on with Sammy Swindell and the Channel Lock car. They are still hard at work. Sammy and Glenn Stewart trying to figure out the problem, but to this point, they don't even know where to look yet. So, Steve, you were right on the ball with that dash call.
A lot of work going on there. A lot of partying going on in there. Some guys having big fun here in Fargo. I'm telling you, man, they are into it here.
Motor Madness, brought to you by Maalox. For heartburn or acid indigestion, count on 1 minute Maalox.
Now the concession stand busy right now. Evan's probably down there somewhere looking for something to eat. Bobby Gerald, he's nowhere near the concession stand. Right, Bobby? You're a die-hard sprint car fan. You'd be nowhere but the pit area.
Unless I was really hungry, Ralph. I'm down here next to Stevie Smith, who drives car number 19. Stevie's found the shadiest spot in the pits, and Stevie won here last year at the Red River Valley Speedway. So you're starting third tonight. Do you think you have something for Steve Kinzer in that A main?
Well, the Ingersoll Rand car has been a good car all year, so we do have a good starting spot, but it's a long race, and Steve's been real fast, and we'll have to wait and find out.
A couple of bad finishes when you went through your home state of Pennsylvania. Actually, I think 4 DNFs are probably what's keeping you from being in the points lead right now.
Well, there's no question. Yeah, if we could have some of those races back, but that's hindsight. We had some bad luck, but the Ingersoll car, the team's been working hard, and we're trying to get it back up front.
All right, Stevie. Good luck in tonight's A feature. The B main's getting ready to go now.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Ralph?
4 spots left in the B, or in the A. They're coming out of the B. Stay with us. That's coming up. It's going to be pretty aggressive to fight for those last 4 spots. So 4 spots left in the A main for the Duel and the Dakotas coming up here at the Red River Valley Speedway. T&M's Motor Madness live with you on a Friday night from Fargo, North Dakota. Here's your B main lineup. Darren Pittman and Joe Gertie, the 21 and the 8H in the front row. Jack Hodenshield in the B main. Lauren Langrud will start alongside of him. Gary Brazier, Bill Robertson in row 3. Chad Millenburn, Pat Miller in the 4th row. Shane Liebig and John Lambert with 1 to go. Randy Butler, Mark Dobmeyer, Jason Wendt, and Scott McDonald. Those last 4, rows 6 and 7, of course, came out of the C.
This is a little like the running of the bulls in Pamplona. You only get 1 shot at this deal.
We had a little thing that was not Gary Brazier in the 75 in this race.
And let's show you the baseball card stats, if you will, on Jack Hodenshield. He's tied for second with 5 A-feature wins this year. 5th in driver earnings with $125,000 already in the pocket as we get set to go to green.
That'll be the car to watch, the yellow 22 machine, number 2 right now in your picture.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do anything crazy. He's just going to ride it out here and try to get into the A main.
And he'll get his time trial back, right? He won't start all that bad.
Right. I think he was, 14th qualifier, so he's about mid-pack in the A main.
That Pennzoil car coming up on the outside, trying to find a way around the up front 21. Pittman if he can. Gertie runs in 3rd. And Travis Whitney, I believe, running behind them.
Even with all the track work that went on there for about 20 minutes and all the water they put in the high groove, no one, now Heidenchild is going to go up and try it a little bit.
But he doesn't look very aggressive, Brad. He's just kind of picking and choosing where he wants to go.
Well, the car's dancing around quite a bit, too. I'm sure it's not the way he likes the car.
He's had no laps, essentially.
Yeah, he's really the first time on the racetrack, especially under race conditions, as he's trying again. This is 3 and 4. You can see the car getting down on the left rear and running a little bit loose off the corner. They've got some work to do on that race car.
He's already wrecked 1.
Gertie, the 8H, little darker colored yellow machine, running in 3rd. The fight for second now with the 21 up front back entry. Pittman.
Yeah, Darren brought his Hemsall company, his sponsor on his own team. He brought that along as an associate sponsor while he's filling in for Lance Blevins. There's Gertie on the outside. Janet Junior Holbrook's race car. Down the front straightaway.
Gertie's got a win in Highland, Texas earlier this year, real early in the season.
Yeah.
It was about the 5th race of the year he picked up a win. Hasn't seen a checkered flag since in the A-main.
The guys that are running up front here, especially that man, Jack Hodenshield, are using this race with the midway point. He's trying high in turn 2, then low in turn 2, then high in 4, and low in 4. Trying to learn as much about this racetrack as the other guys know from having gone through the feature and gone through maybe even the C.
This is actually a good race here for second place.
Yes, it is.
Hodenshield trying to lap some cars.
Dealing with the 13 right now. That's Mark Dobmeyer. He came out of the C. I think it's also important with 5 to go to mention that Bonsai and Hahn have worked together twice before. In fact, Bonsai worked with Hahn when Hahn was driving for Forbrook.
Right. He was crewing with it, so he had learned a lot from Guy Forbrook. You know, it kind of trained him, and now here he is, a crew chief for Hodenshield.
Back to that battle for second. The 21 is Pittman, the white car. He's got second blocked up right now, and it's Joe Gertie out of Rochester, Indiana, in the 8H, trying to catch him. And you think that 7's reeling them in a little bit? There he is right there, 4th place car. Travis Whitney, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota driver. Wobbled there a little bit. Here's Hahn working through traffic, being cautious.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you know, he's got a radio, and the crew are telling him, just take it easy, be cool. You've got a big lead. Let's just get this thing in the A main, and we'll fix her when you get to the pits.
Butler just in front of him right now in the 5B.
You know, for no other reason, Brad, I think the radios add a dimension of safety to this racing, where you can use a spotter like they do in so many other forms of motorsports to say, go low, rack up high. You know?
Yep. You took the words right out of my mouth, Steve. That's what I was just going to comment. No, well, You know, a lot of people complain about the radios. They don't like the radios. They think the drivers block and things like that. But you're right. It does help with the safety.
Checkered flag for Houghton Shield gives second to Pittman, third to Gertie, fourth to the 7S of Travis Whitney. Those 4 cars will go on to tonight's A main. I believe Bill Robertson in the 16 out of Ashland, Nebraska, came up 1 spot short. Jack going to get 1 more lap at speed. A little more information out of that Pennzoil 22, owned by Jack Geldon. Bobby Gerald.
Johnny Herrera has just watched the B main and immediately went for the wrenches, and now he's over here doing a little tuning on the 47 car. Johnny, what'd you see that made you race for the wrench?
Well, nothing really. I'm just been watching the racetrack. You know, we weren't very good in the dash there. We weren't bad, so we got to make some changes here and see if we can get this thing going a little bit better.
Now, are you going to do what all the other guys do and run over and touch Hod's tires?
Yeah, run over and look at it and see how it wore, you know, so we know what tire to put on this Casey's General Store car.
All right, well, Johnny Herrera, you know when the TV cameras come on, you start going forward.
Well, we're hoping to do it tonight.
All right. Dave Reeve?
Well, as you can imagine, everybody taking a peek at Jack Houtenschild's tires. He comes in, Dean Brunt's leaning in to talk to his driver to see how things went. You talked about the fact that it didn't look like he was pressing it down too hard. Talked to some of his crew members during that B main, and that indeed was the case. They're taking a look now to make sure everything is absolutely right on this race car. Maybe a little concern. We'll get a chance to step in here and ask Jack Houtenschild how everything went in that B main. Looked a little conservative, maybe just trying to feel things out yet?
Yeah, just trying to feel the car out and seeing what track was like, and I think we're pretty close, so we'll just change it around a little bit and hopefully get up through there for the A.
Not the traditional wild child charge, but then again, you didn't really need it in that race.
Yeah, that's right. We just wanted to get to the feature and do the transfer spot.
You were able to get a few positions back. Looks like you're going to start about 14th. It's unofficial now, but is a top 5 finish still in the cards tonight, you think?
Yeah, I think so. I think we'll be able to get up through there. The car feels pretty good, so we're just going to make a couple small changes and hopefully get up through there.
Well, you heard him say he wasn't very aggressive, so I'm not sure if any of these drivers down here are going to be able to get anything off of them tires.
That's a good point, Dave. If you don't work it hard, there's nothing to see, right, Brad?
Yeah, and all these guys looking at tires. And I saw Deuce Terrell last night have an infrared gun that took the heat readings off these tires. He could just walk up and shoot it right across the tire and find out what their temperature was.
Something else I've noticed, the guys are being a little cautious about what they tell our pit reporters because there are a lot of little mini satellite dishes in those trucks all over that infield pit area, and they're getting this signal just like you're getting it at home. The enemy is listening, Dave.
Well, let's find out what you think, Johnny. Car already came down from your pits, which is like 15 cars that way to get a peek here. What do you get out of this?
Well, it actually got a little easier on right rear tires. It's wearing the left rear is about the same as it's been all weekend, but the right rears don't seem to be wearing as bad. You know, he had a 40 on there, so now it's going to be make a decision whether we're going to run a 40 or a 62 for them 30 laps.
And when will that decision be made? Probably about the 4th lap on the pace car, probably?
Pretty close. I'm going to run back there and discuss it with my guys, and hopefully we make the right choice.
Time to get to work. A lot of these guys got some decisions to be made, and like I said, could be a little deceiving reading this tire, guys.
I think what's interesting here is Carl hasn't been by the car yet. He's been out looking at the racetrack. I guess he figures he doesn't need anybody else to tell him. He'll just decide it on his own.
You know, we saw a lot of comments online on the various online services in the World Wide Web about our television coverage, and everybody got a huge kick out of the Carl Kinzer thing, and Carl being almost a stand-up comic and clicking his heels. He is deadly serious tonight after those 2 DNQs.
He still had the best line of the weekend, though. I walked up to him earlier today. I said, Carl, how you running? He says, man, we're running wide open, but even that ain't fast enough.
They're searching right now, and he'll find it. That's what he's out there on that racetrack looking for.
Well, the Wild Child is in, making one of his fans happy. Now, what can he do when he gets into the A main and the Duel of the Dakotas coming up? Welcome back to West Fargo, North Dakota. They're doing a little work around here. Getting everything ready to go. And so are we. Carl Kinzer trying to decide what he wants to do, Dave.
Well, he's going around to the right side now, taking a real hard look. Carl, you got a chance to go out on the racetrack. This one's going to be a guessing game.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be whoever gets the right tire and gear ratio is going to be up front.
I didn't expect to come down here and see much of a smile on your face, especially with what's gone on here over the last few races.
Well, we've been running good and fell out of. We've been going up and down like a pump handle. I don't know why, but just everything we've done sometimes wrong and then right. But we're going to be right in this thing tonight. So.
Tell me honestly, though, does that green car maybe pace you here? You want to get that points lead back?
Oh, yeah, we want it back. We should have never lost it, our own doing.
That's pretty well said. So what do you get out of this thing? Not too many TNN viewers in the pits. If they're in the racetrack watching this, they're not going to be able to learn anything. So what do you get from the racetrack, and what are you going to do to try to make this car fast?
Well, I think tonight it's going to be a tire battle, and yellow flags and everything play a major role in it, and I think Sammy ran a 62 last night, and he ran good on a 62 last night, and the track should be more abrasive tonight, so if that tells you anything. And but I don't know. I'm in a toss-up on right rear tire yet.
62?
Could be.
You never know with Carl Kinzer. One way to find out, we'll try to sneak over here and get a peek at that right rear before they push off, Bobby.
Whether or not Carl Kinzer goes with the 62 or the 40, here's some information that we learned from the dash. The World of Outlaws using computerized timing this weekend, and during the dash, Steve Kinzer, late in the dash, who had on a 40 tire, slowed down as the dash progressed. Sammy Swindell had on a 62, and he got faster every lap during the dash. Now, how much do you equate all of that in with them watering the track after the dash? Who knows? Greg Hodnitz has an engineering degree, so maybe he's the one to turn to figure it out. What are you guys doing in the main event, 40 or 62?
I think we're going to do a 40. The reason being is, like last night, it was a similar situation. The tires, there's a lot of crumbly stuff laying on the racetrack, and it actually abused the tires more early than it did late. And we actually got away with running a 25C last night, which is really soft. And we started 13th, ran 9th. There was nothing very impressive, but still, we made a charge forward. But the only problem you did have was after it ran about 4 laps, it started slowing down big time, as you were just speaking of. So I'm hoping the 40, I think it'll last fine, but like you said, I think it might slow down, but where we're starting, we got to get going.
I understand that. Now, how have things been going for this team, the 11H? Let's get your mid-season progress report.
Well, probably not getting too good a grades right now, but we're going to keep working after it. And, we've had a couple quick times here in the last 2 or 3 weeks. Been finishing up, starting in the dashes, finishing better. So, we're hoping to turn things around for the Vibrant, the Summer Shell team.
A lot of guys talk about the month of money, and what I want to know is how much do you guys put aside as far as your best equipment? Do you have your best motor right now being freshened and reworked for next week's Kings Royal?
No, right now we just pretty much got a cycle. All our motors are pretty good. Jones Engineering out of Washington, Indiana does them, and they're all pretty good. So right now we don't have anything exceptionally better than anything else. So we got them in cycle, and wherever it falls is where it's going to fall.
All right, and we'll see Greg Hodnett next Saturday night with the Kings Royal at Earl Baltus's Eldora Speedway. That is going to be a fun race.
You know, Hodnett's had a bit of an up-and-down week already anyway. He beat Patty Hodenshield, Jack's wife, in a racquetball game, but then he lost to the dude, Mosowski, in a golf game. All part of the life on the road with the World of Outlaws. You look for your buddies to keep you entertained. You're sitting around and you've seen all the movies that are running on the TV. We'll be back. Welcome back to Fargo, North Dakota. Ralph Shaheen along with Brad Doty, Steve Evans, Dave Reef, and Bobby Gerald here covering the Duel in the Dakotas with the Pennzoil World of Outlaws on Motor Madness on TNN. You know, when we get into these situations like this, we're down for a little while, I'm sure most of you folks get up and go to your refrigerator. And Doty is the same way. He has just whooped through this like 12-foot-long candy bar. It took you like 2 bites, and you were through all those peanuts and everything.
Hey, you're starving me up here, you know what I mean?
I didn't see you hurting at the dinner line either. Steve Evans, where'd you stumble off to now?
I gotta tell you, this place is amazing. We showed you the sports bar atmosphere. Well, something else is here at Red River. You won't find it any racetrack in America, including Las Vegas. They have a casino called the Lucky 7. Now, it's not just these pool cars that are popular in restaurants and bars all over this part of the country, but check this out. Excuse me, guys. Give these a little room here. They got a full-blown blackjack operation. This is totally legal. Vegas rules. You buy the chips, you win, you get the cash. What are you trying to make your admission money back or what, pal?
That's right.
Now, we're going to run the A-main here in about 10 minutes. You going to watch that monitor, or you going to go back in the seat?
Go off to the seats.
How you doing, by the way?
I'm losing.
How long is this place open? Oh, midnight. Oh, let me give you guys some advice that my dad gave me, who was an expert on this game. Never hit a breaking hand unless the dealer has an ace up. Words to gamble by. Let's go down to Bobby Joe. Bobby?
I'm just thinking about the pork fritters at Knoxville. We're about, what, a month away from those? Danny, you probably had a pork fritter or two in your career.
You bet. They get the best ones around Iowa.
All right, Danny, we were talking with you about tires. That's all we've been talking about really all night long. What's it going to be for you guys come feature time?
Well, we put the bricks on. We put the 62 on the right rear and a 40 on the left rear. Just hope for the best. Right now, it showed there in the B feature, Jack was about, second half faster in the lap cars and couldn't get by him. That's what it's come to. If the racetrack widens out, you'll see a pretty good race. But if it's one lane on the bottom, it's not going to be a very good race.
All right, dude. Telling it like it is. Dave?
Well, what you're looking at right now is a pair of Hoosier tires that now replace the back of Joe Gertie's 8H car. Had Goodyears on for the B main event, and things didn't go exactly like you wanted, so you made the switch. Why?
I think that the racetrack's getting really aggressive on tires, and Goodyear's, when it gets like this, I don't feel is the right tire. When we won earlier this year at Houston, it was similar to this racetrack. It was a smaller racetrack, but it did the same thing to the tires. So the Hoosiers was good for me there, so I'm going to give it a try. I just unfortunately timed bad, but maybe we can pass some cars and get to the front.
It's the F55 tire, and incidentally, it is not the hardest Hoosier tire. They can go one step harder.
Yeah, there's a hot dog. That looks pretty good. Tell you what, you think of Knoxville, I think of Mom Lasowski's peaches. She finds these peaches, Danny's mom, they're the size of softballs. Can't wait, Mom Lasowski. See you at Knoxville in August. Don't forget, coming up Sunday on TNN, the Winston Cup drivers are back in action. They'll take their tie points battle to Loudon, New Hampshire for the Jiffy Lube 300. Coverage starts Sunday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern for the Jiffy Lube 300 preview. Followed by the race at 1. That's coming up Sunday right here on TNN Motorsports. And don't forget, Ricky Craven on the pole.
Grandstands. In the grandstands, about, 5 minutes ago till we start the main guy from right down the road. Who's going to win it?
Steve Kinzer, number 11, Quaker State. Automatic. He was hot last night. He went in the corner in number 4, came out number 1 in 1 lap.
All right, he says Kinzer. I think everybody else agrees, Steve Kinzer? Yeah! Pretty good. Right now, here's Dave Reef, shot earlier, to tell us about a new scoring method to be used in the world of Outlaws. It's computerized.
The world of Outlaws are once again on the cutting edge of technology, and it all circulates around this little red box. Tracking Speed out of Albuquerque, New Mexico has developed a new timing and scoring system. It's been pretty successful so far. This little red radio transmitter gets strapped to the inside front right frame rail of every World of Outlaws sprint car in the pits tonight. From there, that radio signal is picked up by an antenna buried 2 feet underneath the start-finish line, where it is transferred up to a computer screen so that Brad and Ralph may keep you up to date on lap times, lap speeds, those kinds of things. Additionally, the World of Outlaw drivers get their own personal copies of how they performed the night before. One look at Steve Kinzer's A main sheet, a race in which he won, finds he was 0.7 of a second faster than the competition overall. That's some pretty good work. Additionally, on the wish list for the World of Outlaws is a sponsor for next year that will provide a video link to a Jumbotron screen so that the fans in the stands can keep as up to date as we've been keeping you here on TNN tonight.
And that kind of computerized timing and scoring has been used in Formula One cars for years, in Grand Prix bikes. NASCAR has used it in a lot of forms of motorsports, but it was never durable enough to take the pounding of the World of Outlaws. Apparently, they deem it to be so now. Well, all of you stay with me and 20,000 of my closest new friends here in Fargo, North Dakota, because when we come back, the best of the best of the World of Outlaws in the A feature here in Fargo.
They're getting ready to push off the A main car, so let's introduce you to the front row, Bobby.
And Steve Kinzer will start on the pole. Some last-minute words with Scott Kirkin. All the speculation is over, Steve. It's time to race, and what about this racetrack?
We'll just have to see what happens and see who made the right choice on tires, and when the sun goes down, what it's going to do to the track, so nobody knows right now.
Steve Kinzer chose compound number 62. That's the hard one. Dave Reef?
Bobby, with most of these World of Outlaw races being won from the front row, this is truly a David versus Goliath. Goliath, obviously, Steve Kinzer. David, well, that's Tyler Walker, actually, who's looking for his first win. Can it come tonight?
I don't see why not. My guys are doing a great job. Again, the car's real drivable for me, and it's up to me. I just got to stand on the gas and do the best I can. Got to thank Airstep again. They're doing a great job. We got a real good team, and got the best of all the equipment you can get. So it's pretty much up to me to go out there and win this thing, and I'm going to do my best.
Gasser from outside the front row with a 40 on the right rear, guys.
Well, they're real hard, and one just a little bit softer.
It is. I mean, we've talked about it before, Ralph. It's all a guessing game, and it's the guy that guesses right at the end of 30 laps.
I'm going to be watching Mark Kinzer because his dad, Carl, has a way of laying back their fourth and fifth and letting the racetrack come to whatever combination he's put on the race car, tire shocks, whatever. He has just a knack for doing that. So even if you see Mark back 20 laps, that last 5 could be where they mount their charge.
That is where Carl really shines, is knowing what the racetrack, or guessing what the racetrack will do at the last 10 laps.
Well, Bobby, what is old Carl going to do?
Well, it's varied across the pits. Carl, what was your compound choice?
40. I lied.
You went with the 40. All right. Yeah, it was a little 62, a little 40, just to throw everybody off your trail, right?
Well, I hope so, and so they can catch me.
I understand. Well, there's a couple people agreeing with you. I know Greg Hodnett went with the 40, but we got an awful lot of hitters, including Steve Kinzer, Jack Hodenshield, Jeff Swindell, who are going with the 62, along with Danny Lasowski.
Well, they may prove me wrong. We'll see.
All right, it's going to be a fun one to watch. Carl Kinzer, ready for action here as the crew chief of car number 5 in.
Now the crowd's ready, too. I'm sure you are. I know we definitely are. Hey, Brad, what do you think with the water that's been put on the track like this and everything? What's it going to do to the tire situation here?
I don't think it'll do a lot. It's going to keep some of the dust down and maybe bring the top groove in for a while. But, the 62, I think I would lean toward that way and cut it up and sipe it up, which helps get the heat in it quicker, but also helps it keep from blistering.
Sipe it up?
Sipe it. That's put little razor cuts in the rubber, and that does two things. It lets the heat get into the tire quicker, but it also lets the heat get out quicker when it gets to a certain temperature so it doesn't blister the tire.
Well, the Duel in the Dakotas, it's time. We're coming back to the Red River Valley Speedway, TNN Motorsports, live with you. What a beautiful sunset here in Fargo, North Dakota. We're on the west side of town at the beautiful Red River Valley Speedway. We've all come up here with the TNN Motorsports cameras for the Duel in the Dakotas. First time we brought the Pennzoil World of Outlaws live to you from the Dakotas. To Dave Reed.
I'm down with Dean Bruns. We haven't had a chance to talk to Guy Forbrooks, or excuse me. How about that for a mistake? Jack Houdenschild's the newest crew chief here, who's still working on them pieces and parts from that accident. What a debut for you on TNN, huh?
Yeah, we're just sorting things out yet, getting the old busted pieces put back together.
Why don't you give us a little bit of your racing background? We talked a little bit earlier. You've had a chance to work with Jack a couple of times in the past.
Yeah, I worked with Jack in 1991 when he drove the guy Forbrooks 5-car, and in 92 when he drove for Casey Luna Ford.
What a great opportunity, though, for you. This is your first ever head wrenching job, is that correct?
No, I was actually with Dean Jacobs last year, Stevie Smith 2 years with a 71M car, and 2.5 years with Kenny Jacobs.
That sandwich was sure good. I'm out to lunch. Tell me quickly what you guys got planned for the A-Main.
We're just starting 14th, and we're going to get up there as far as we can.
The only way Jack Houdenchild knows how.
Here's a look at the history of this race here at Red River Valley Speedway. One of the big names who have found their way into victory lane here. Steve Kinzer and Doug Wolfgang. In fact, Bonsai is from the Dakotas. He's from South Dakota. And the Pennzoil World of Outlaws doing the traditional 4-wide salute to the fans. You think this crowd's been loud already tonight? I guarantee you they're going to bring these grandstands stomping to the ground as the Outlaws come up the front straightaway. Listen to this crowd. How cool is this shot?
Fireworks going off on turn 1 and 2.
Well, that's thunder in the prairie, huh?
This is some kind of race. We're coming back here. Look at the cameras. Unbelievable place. What fun.
Well, here it is, the lineup for the Duel in the Dakotas here on TNN Motorsports. Steve Kinzer and Tyler Walker. Who shows right with the tires? Stevie Smith and Mark Kinzer in row number 2. Does Carl have something for him? Danny Lasowski and Andy Hillenberg in row 3. Sammy Swindell and Johnny Herrera back in row 4. Brooke Tatnell and Dale Blaney in the 5th row. Row 6, Danny Smith and Greg Hodnett. Jack Hodenshield, what's he got in the 22? And Wade Nygaard alongside of him. Joe Gertie and Darren Pittman in row 8. Jeff Swindell and Travis Whitney. Donnie Schatz, the local kid, trying to make an impression. Dion Hindy alongside of him. Terry McCarlin, Craig Delansky, Chuck Swenson, and Shane Carson as we work our way back through the field. Onboard camera shots as well for you here tonight. The 15 of Donnie Schatz will bring us this view just behind Jeff Swindell. And Johnny Herrera has this look. We're going green with the Duel in the Dakotas.
Oh, and look at Mark Kinzer.
Oh, we got a problem on the front straightaway. Big stack up.
Down in
Three
turn
cars
one.
down in turn one. Now 4 cars. I believe one of those was the Pittman machine.
It was the very tail end of the...
No, it's not Pittman. I'm sorry. He got through that.
Very tail end. The guys that are really trying to maybe... do
Terry McCarl in the 24. I saw a 21.
Craig Delansky in the 21.
Yep, it was the other 21. I thought it was Pittman. It's not. The 12...
There it is. There's Pittman right there. Upside.
No, Pittman. That's
oh, okay.
It's Pittman's over here.
Well, who's
that's
the 20?
12S. I believe that's Shane Carson's
Yeah,
car.
that's Carson on the top.
And the one that's upside down, Danny Smith. Danny Smith in the 21S. Now watch the white car in the center of your frame as we take a look at this. I think it's... There it is. Getting real loose. Is that Danny? Yeah, Danny Smith right there. He gets spun back around, and then upside down he goes.
Boy, and this is his first race back after a hard crash, too.
We got another look at it. Here it's already started. Watch the left side of your frame.
There he is. No place for these guys to go in the back. Clips, turns him around, he gets hit. Boy, oh boy.
Now Danny has climbed out of the car.
Everybody's A-OK, and as bad as that may have looked, these cars are pretty darn durable, and I would say all 4 of those are maybe repairable.
Out of Danville, Indiana, Danny Smith. Bobby Gerald.
Well, we've caught up with Terry McCarl, who is one of the foursome involved here. Danny Smith is the car that's upside down. Terry, you all right?
Yeah, we're all right. It was just a racing accident. I really don't know what happened. You can see it on video, I guess. I come in the corner. Danny was spun out. Really nowhere to go for anybody, Craig or anybody. It's one of them deals you hope you make it through a start. We didn't this time, but we tore it up a little bit, but we'll be back next time.
Flat right rear tire over here. Is there anything else that's going to keep you out of this feature?
Yeah, we're done. It broke some of the rear end suspension parts. I don't know if we can fix it quick enough. Bet the front axle, the front wheel and stuff. So mainly it smashed the header in. We can't change that very fast, and without that, we might burn the motor down. But the McCroskey Chevrolet Maxim or Eagle is running good tonight out there. But the track's going to be good. Good for racing. Looks like you can move around on it. I think it's going to be a good show for the fans.
Thanks, Terry. Dave Reef. Well, Bobby, this isn't the place you want to meet a driver up here in the tops of turn 1 and 2 with the helmet off and the steering wheel in his hand. Danny Smith looked like the car got over pretty darn hard there. You okay?
Yeah, just driver error. Went in there and turned sideways, and everybody tried to miss me, but they couldn't. Killed the car. I feel sorry for my owner, Steve Brazier. He just put this car together. I had one night on it.
Now, you're just coming back from a pretty hard crash as well. Did the body get through that okay?
Yeah, that wasn't any problem. We just took a week or 2 off, put a new car together, and got a fresh engine, and now everything's junk, so pretty disappointing.
See a couple of snapped tube rails there. That obviously is not a very good sign, right?
Yeah, after I got turned around, I got hit pretty hard, so it's junk. We're done.
We wish you the best of luck. We'll see you again, Danny Smith. Bobby Joe?
With Craig Delansky now, who was also part of this mess. And Craig, I saw some pretty severe damage to the front end of your machine. You don't look real happy.
No, you know, it takes us out right away. You know, a couple cars got sideways there, and things were happening fast. And unfortunately, the Polydome car's out of the show here tonight. But we'll be back tomorrow night.
You feeling all right?
Yeah, it was a pretty good hit, but you know, we'll be back.
All right, Craig. Thanks for talking with us. Craig Delansky, he's out of it, as is Danny Smith and Terry McCarl. Might be the only car that could be salvaged is Shane Carson, but Shane has his helmet off, and we may lose the $12 sign as well. So it could be 4 out after this first turn incident on the first lap. Ralph?
Danny Smith does have a third back in June at Springfield on the mile. And we got another look at this from the onboard of Donnie Schatz. Here's how fast everything can unfold in front of you. Right behind Jeff Swindell, and there you see it. Right in front of you, and he just gets around the outside.
Yeah, you could see from his angle as it started, he just hoped that the car stays on the bottom of the racetrack and not come up in front of him.
To Dave Reed.
I'm down with Shane Carson getting hooked up to the wrecker here, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Parts breakage not too bad.
No, not tonight. I guess they got tangled up in here on the bottom and just kind of closed off the lane for us. So we got a left front radius rod, a tie rod. We can get it fixed.
And the best part is, by starting last, you don't move back. That's good news.
Well, they can't penalize me anymore, can they?
I guess not. Shane will be back in the A main once he gets this race car fixed.
You know, sometimes when there's a red flag, which is the case here, crews can go work on the cars and make some adjustments, but the problem is here, they didn't even get a full lap in. Nobody knows what the track's going to do.
That, and it's not quite, there is tomorrow night right here. There's a third night of racing, so you're not just completely lost and have to tow out of town with nothing. You've got another night to race.
Well, I can almost bet you that Guy Forbrook and Steve are down there changing something now that they can't change tires, you know, or they go to the tail. You're penalized, go to the tail. But Carl's car looked, as you see there, shot right around the top and took the lead from Steve and looked tremendous at this point. Now he has the softer 40 Goodyear on, which generally you do get a better start. The 62, it takes a few laps to get some heat in it, and the longer you run under green, the better it works.
You know, did Sammy Swindell figure out everything that was wrong with his car? There he sits inside the channel lock machine. Crew looking at it, but he's content to stay strapped in. Here's a look at how Sammy's season has gone so far in 1998. Second in driver points, fourth in driver earnings. Even that's not enough to make Sammy smile. He's not going to be happy unless he's number one. Now these guys hand siping down here.
There's the siping we were talking about, Steve. This is a tool that has two little blades, and it puts razor cuts in the tire.
Oh, I've seen it done for years. I just never heard it called siping. Where did that come from? Some guy named Sipe?
Yeah.
Good a story as any.
Brian Sipe, the quarterback for the Browns. Yeah. I don't know where it came from, Steve.
Get us out of here, Ralph.
He's smiling only because he grew up as a Browns fan of Apple Creek. Am I getting that right?
Yeah,
Apple Creek?
Apple Creek, yeah.
Go Niners. That's all I got to say to you. We're back to the duel in the Dakotas here at the Red River Valley Speedway. Sammy Swindell has been battling problems with that car all weekend, Dave.
He certainly has. There has not been a harder worker in the pits this entire weekend than Sammy Swindell with those problems last night. He thought he had the problem fixed out, but Sam, you came here tonight and found out maybe that exactly wasn't the case. What you fighting tonight? Same kind of things?
Yeah, we've changed a lot of stuff, you know, just about everything. And I don't know, I guess we've made the right move there. It ran, you know, that start, and it seems to be okay now. Just hope we made the right choice for the tires. It may hurt us here early, but hopefully we don't go too far back.
62 on the right rear. How do you describe what the problem was? Was it a fuel pickup thing again tonight, or did the motor just not want to run, or what did it seem like?
Well, we had a problem with it just missing up, you know, up above about 6,500, and we've changed the fuel tanks twice, the lines, fuel pump. We changed the motor, and it's all been kind of up and down a little bit. We changed the mag there late and changed the ignition box, and for about the fourth time this time it seems to run.
He will start seventh once again on this restart, Bobby.
Stevie Smith, real quick, were you able to learn anything in just that one lap that you got?
Well, I was spinning the tires, so we're making some changes, try to get a better start and hold our position anyway for the first couple laps.
All right, so maybe you can tell us something. Stevie did make some changes. He won Tuesday night at Houston Speedway. We've got cars rolling. We'll be racing before you know it, Ralph.
Yep, he's got 8 A feature wins this year, and you know, some of those he's done pretty darn good in the plains part of this country. Yep. He won in Brandon, South Dakota. He also picked up 2 wins in Greenwood, Nebraska. He's done pretty good when you get to the flat country.
Where he didn't do well, though, was on the Pennsylvania swing, his home court. He expected to take the points lead and had nothing but problems, nothing but bad luck, and a lot of disappointed fans. And that he might be leading the points instead of Steve Kinzer had he done well on his home track.
You know, here on TNM Motorsports, we love to show you green flag, Pennzoil roll the business done now while they're under yellow. We'll get back for green after this. Welcome back to Fargo. Ralph Shaheen along with my racing buddies Brad Doty and Steve Evans up in the booth and working down in the pit area for us tonight, doing a great job. Dave Reef and Bobby Gerald, of course. Well, it's time for our Maalox Minute. Maalox for heartburn, acid indigestion. Count on 1 minute Maalox. And of course, what other Maalox moment would we show you but this one? Opening lap. Danny Smith. Big problems, collects 4 guys. Terry McCarl. Shane Carson involved as well. Maalox for heartburn or acid indigestion. Count on 1 minute Maalox. Shane has got the 12S going again.
Well, I tell you, watching that replay there, the X car of Chuck Swenson just squeezed through that whole mess and didn't even touch anybody. What a great job.
Terry McCarl also knocked out of there.
Yeah. Shane's the only one.
Craig
coming back.
Delansky, he's done. Sammy's got it rolling again.
I love that shot. Love that shot. Come on, Johnny. Johnny, you're a great cameraman, as well as being a great driver.
There's Dale Blaney, the Amoco car. The Amoco Knoxville Nationals coming up in August. Of course, we'll be there for that to wrap up the month of money. Let's go to Dave Reed.
Guy Forbrook is already at it. During that red flag, they went ahead and changed some weight on how the car is weighted, as well as some gears. They saw Mark Kinzer come blitzing by on the top, so look for Steve Kinzer to try to get out in the lead and move up to the top to try to block the advances of that 5M car.
When he said change the weight, they don't add weight, or that's the how they adjust the corners of the car. He didn't actually change the weight on the race car, add the weight to the car.
We're going green. Hodnett hits the wall coming off of 4, but everybody keeps rolling.
And whatever changes they made on that weight, it sure looks good right now.
Steve Kinzer, your leader. Tyler Walker was in second, but now it's Mark Kinzer. Tyler goes to third. Danny Lasowski and Stevie Smith fights for fourth. Give the spot to the dude for now.
I'll bet you Carl Kinzer's stomping his feet after taking the lead in this red coming out.
Stevie Smith flips back some more. Now, Steve, here comes Andy Hillenberg hard in the black number 2.
And Andy Hillenberg is never afraid to go to the top, to ride the rim.
Danny Lasowski now takes third away from Tyler Walker. The dude looking awful strong tonight.
Hillenberg put a slide job on Tyler.
Tyler's dropping back again. Look at Hillenberg come to the outside of Lasowski.
Interesting to watch this crowd, the crowd psychology. There was a time when Steve Kinzer won so much that they was booing. There were banner toes, anybody but Kinzer. Tonight they were cheering him on like a fallen hero.
Well, this Quaker State number 11 has been absolutely awesome here all weekend. Here's the interval back as Steve takes the line. There's second place, the working 5M of Mark. Third is Andy Hillenberg with the McCrarys. Here comes the Ingersoll Rand car now of Stevie Smith, and that Beef Packers machine of Danny still fighting with him.
Steve is already going to get into traffic.
What kind of surprises me about Steve Kinzer is when they water this racetrack, the top is really nice and sticky. He's got that hard 62 tire on there, and he's working that good right up there in that moisture.
This is the best fight right here. The black number 19 of Stevie Smith and the white and burgundy number 83, the Beef Packers car of Danny Lasowski. Dude on the bottom. Smith down on the bottom too. Now another car joining into that fight with them. Tyler Walker car to come back up into the mix.
Yeah, he moved to the top 3 and 4.
He's in 6th, fighting with Lasowski for 5th position.
And you Sammy Swindell fans, he has slid back to 7th. So
look at that, 3 wide.
Oh my Lord.
Pittman in the middle, Jeff Swindell on the outside in the 104 octane boost car. The Ford power plant.
23 laps in the books as the master goes to work.
Gentlemen, I'll tell you what, if you were ever to come on strong with a new crew chief, just before the month of money begins.
From this shot, look at his elbows. Watch his elbows. Not really rest on that car. You can tell how good a car is working again by watching the driver's arms. And boy, he's feeling comfortable.
The way he looks right now, Steve Kinzer could sweep the month of money and maybe the Pennzoil World of Outlaw title.
You know, this could be Guy Forbrook's best chance of winning the Knoxville Nationals. Guy has won the championship. Yeah, has won the Knoxville Championship 6 or 7 times. Has never won the Knoxville Nationals, and Steve Kinzer's won it, 11 times? So this could be Guy's best chance.
Yep, and now you know why Steve said I'd sure like to keep this team together. Boy, Woody, look at this coming up on hot shell.
There's that controversy we talked about.
Hodge running in 15th right now. It's Steve Kinzer, Mark Kinzer, Andy Hillenberg, Stevie Smith, Tyler Walker, your top 5. Sammy Swindell is 6th. Lasowski slips back to 7th. Schatz, Blaney, Herrera, your top 10. Schatz now closing in. Dale Blaney closing in.
Donnie Schatz started 19th. Is running good for the hometown crowd.
Every time he comes by this front straightaway grandstand, they go ballistic.
Danny Lasowski qualified number 1 last night, number 2 tonight. Finishes 5th last night, dropping like a rock tonight. He's back to 8th. You're watching from onboard Donnie Schatz' entry. Whoa. There goes Johnny Herrera in the Casey's General Store car as you look back at Schatz now. Johnny Herrera running in 9th. Schatz pulling back in 10th.
And look at the distance he put on shots in a matter of seconds. They're dueling onboard cameras.
Well, we've seen it before, Steve. Johnny Herrera and their crew have a good setup for a slick racetrack like this. We've seen it before, and Herrera likes, he's a good driver, good with the throttle pedal. They usually run really well in this type of situation.
Boy, you can call him the king again. Steve Kinzer is looking as dominant as his old days, if you will. Sammy Swindell, a big bobble in the Janeluk car.
Fighting that car.
Danny Lasowski running right behind him. That is a fight for 7th.
With the engine troubles that Sammy's had, you know, if your engine's just not perfect and as competitive as these cars are, it can make your race car feel funny, make the chassis setup feel funny, and you can get lost on what to do with the chassis if your engine's not hitting really hard.
Down the front straightaway goes Sammy into turns 1 and 2, trying to catch up to Dale Blaney with 15 to go. Dale Blaney holding on to 6th position. Brother Dave here doing a little coaching. They're up into the cushion. Danny Lasowski battling on the bottom. The Beef Packers, Tom Johnson back to 83.
If you've made the wrong tire choice, Brad Doty, where is it going to start to show up?
The last 10 laps here, but I'd have to say that Steve, being in the leader with the hard tire, and Mark's going to do anything, he'll get slower as the race goes on with that 40 on. Steve should get faster, especially if they run non-stop here, where he can keep the heat in that right rear tire.
You can see the different lines as Steve Kinzer now works up onto the back of the 7S. This should that's 7K. That's Brooke Tatnall's car out of Memphis.
Tyler Walker, Dale Blaney.
That's a fight for 5th. Dale Blaney, the Amoco car on the outside, the black, white, and blue machine. Tyler Walker's black machine running on the bottom. Working through some lap traffic, including Pittman's 21, the up front car. White machine.
Meanwhile, Steve Kinzer's got probably a straightaway lead on this big old racetrack. He's just running comfortable.
They were concerned about this being a one-group track. Boy, it's definitely 2 groups.
You know, we've seen it before, Ralph. We've talked about slick racetracks, and sometimes we worry about, and some of our best racing is he's coming up the lap, Johnny Herrera.
Ooh, notice the smoke off the right rear of Kinzer as he came into 4.
That's 9th position Steve is up to lapping. Oh, look at Sammy cutting to the inside of Tyler Walker.
That's for 6th and 7th right there.
Give the spot, the 6th position to Sammy. Well, that was a veteran move. Sammy Swindell.
A lot of them are experienced drivers. The veterans are starting to at least half of the laps go up high and try to get a little of that cushion.
Well, Steve, there he is. He was concerned about this being a one-lane track and not being able to get through lap traffic, and he's running that Quaker State car anywhere he wants to.
And up to 3rd is Stevie Smith.
Oh, and the lap car. Look what happened there. He had to get out of the throttle. Oh. And Hillenberg's going to get by him on the inside.
Boy, you get off the gas, it can hurt you big time. And McCrary's working for Andy Hillenberg. He's got 3rd now.
On a racetrack, momentum is really important on any racetrack, but a slick racetrack like this, momentum, keeping your speed up, and that proved it right there. You get out of the throttle and have to touch the brakes. You just lose so much time. You back on the throttle, you break the tires loose, and then you just spin.
And another reason that, look at the smoke off of Kinzer's tires, another reason to go high down there is to carry that speed, not lose that momentum.
Right.
McCrary's on Hillenberg, but Goodyear's on Steve Kinzer's cars. He's lapped around Danny Lasowski now, who's running an 8th. Boy, is the king ever awesome. Guy Forbrook,
look at that smile.
He phoned in a victory to him earlier just a couple of days ago.
Look.
And now the king is about to do it with Guy and right here with him.
Steve Kinzer, that just shows, I mean, he's got such a huge lead, but he does not let up. Get that close to the wall and using up every inch of this racetrack.
Good fight for 2nd. The working 5M of Mark Kinzer, the white and orange car on the bottom. And look at Andy Hillenberg working the cushion as they come up on the backside of Jack Hodgeshield's Pennzoil car. Both cars upstairs now.
That's down in turns 1 and 2. Let's see what they do when they get down into turn 3. Mark goes back to the bottom.
Hillenberg is fast. He is really running strong tonight. The Broken Arrow, Oklahoma driver looking for a victory here tonight.
He's got 2 wins. Hillenberg has 2 wins this year. Look at this. Coming off. Oh, and he gets... Oh,
contact in there.
White flag is out.
Contact in there as they were trying to get around Hodenshield.
Oh, Hillenberg. Oh, look at this. Stevie Smith. Stevie Smith gets them both.
On the inside, picks them both up to take second place.
Went from 4th to 2nd in one corner. Steve Kinzer off with a checkered flag.
Checkered flag to Steve Kinzer, who's going to hold on for second as they come down the back straightaway off but turn number 4.
Stevie Smith there, second.
Stevie Smith, third will go to Hillenberg.
Fourth
to Mark Kinzer. What an incredible finish. Dale Blaney comes home 5th.
And look how long we had to wait to see who would finish second. That tells you the margin of victory for that man. 14-time.
What an unbelievable finish, Dave.
Well, Ralph, it's possible we may have a new kingmaker. Unbelievable what you guys did tonight. Great adjustments on the red.
Mark, we kind of got lucky there. Mark kind of showed us what was going on, so we got to adjust the car right there in that red, and he did the rest.
How long has it been since we've seen that big smile on your face like that?
It's been a while since the last, I think probably Manzanito on the TV show there, but he definitely did a job there tonight.
I imagine you got a driver you want to go and congratulate, but let me be the first from everybody tuning in to congratulate you on a new venture.
Thanks, thank you.
That's Guy Forbrook.
What a combination this could end up being. Steve Kinzer and Guy Forbrook. Maybe a new dynasty on our hands. Stay with us. Here's a look at the rundown. Well, Dale Blaney comes home in 5th. Maybe having Brother Dave around helped him out a little bit. Mark and Carl are going to go back to the drawing board. 4th won't make them happy. Great night for Andy Hillenberg coming home in 3rd. Stevie Smith with a great move to get 2nd. And Bobby Gerald, you got a king with you.
That's right, and I have the King's Court down here with him. I have his children. This is Kurt, who is 13 years old. This is Stevie, she's 14. And this is, oh, sorry, that's Craig. This is Kurt. Kurt's 10. I knew I was going to mess it all up, Steve, and I know these guys. Congratulations, and they've all got the big smiles on their face. That was an awesome run, Steve.
Well, I tell you, Scott, Jimmy, and Guy and Olin had her hooked up tonight. She was really fast. I tell you, we got a good team right now, and I'd hate to see any part of it go. I don't know. I might have to do some serious talk with Scott and stuff, but I hate to see him leave. He's did a tremendous job for me the whole time, but I tell you what, they had that car good tonight, didn't they? That thing was fast.
Yes, it was, and there wasn't anybody close to you. They were fighting it out for second, about a half a lap behind you, and you probably lapped up to 7th or 8th, Steve.
Well, I felt good on the top of 1 and 2. I felt real good on the bottom of 3 and 4. Pretty good on the top of 3 and 4. Never did run the bottom. I actually went down there after the checker and felt good down there. So I don't know what else you could ask for. You got to run them on the bottom, top, both corners.
Do we have to go back to the King's Royal last year when you were having this much fun?
I'm having quite a bit of fun here the last couple of weeks. It's been a lot of fun. I want to thank Quaker Steak, Franklin Power Products, Goodyear Tires, Brodex Heads, Felpro, just all my sponsors, Pro Shock. I could just go on down the list, and they've all been behind me, and it's just fun. It's just fun to be running this fast right now.
And before we wrap it up, real quick, Craig has been part of your pit crew here this weekend. He's 13 years old, getting his feet wet, and I understand doing a little racing.
Yeah, you got him a 600 mini sprint or micro sprint or whatever they are. I don't know, different parts of the country call them, and he's been able to run it 4 or 5 times, and Kurt here's been running go-karts a couple times, and Stevie's been after me to run some too, so I don't know if I can keep them all going or not, but it's fun to have them with me here in the summertime.
Congratulations, Steve.
I thank all the race fans and Quaker State Oil.
Dave Reef.
Bobby, as easy as Steve Kinzer made that look tonight, there was a guy who worked his tail off to finish second. Stevie Smith, what a performance you put on late in the race.
Yeah, the Ingersoll Rand car was a good car. The guys did a good job on it. It was handling well. We just made the right moves at the end. And I want to thank Bobcat. That's division, Melrose's division of Ingersoll Rand, and they could possibly be a sponsor for next year. They're famous for the skid front loader. It's a little piece of equipment, so we're glad to have them aboard too.
Good news possibly for next year. Now let's talk about that pass. You got out of the race car and your dad looked at you and he said, that was one that could either end the way it did or end differently. That was pretty hairy.
Yeah, when you get into that many lap cars and 3 or 4 cars dicing back and forth, you feel lucky when you come out in front of them because it could end up in any position. All the cars were equal after Steve. He seemed to be a little faster, but we're happy with the performance tonight, and we're glad the Ingersoll Rand car ran well.
Well, he's keeping pace with Steve Kinzer, at least when it comes to the points. Top 4 should stay pretty close, guys.
You know,
yes.
What I thought was really interesting there is in the Kinzer interview, he said even after the checkered, he was still testing the racetrack. The man never gives up, Bobby Gerald.
We've caught up with Andy Hillenberg, a third-place finisher here tonight, Steve. And Andy, you guys really entertained us with that fight you were putting on there, you and Mark Kinzer and Stevie Smith. That was good stuff.
Yeah, I hope so. We really had a good race. Everybody raced each other clean. We were sliding back and forth, and I'll tell you what, man, I'm pumped up. I had a blast. Just a good race and a good time, and that's all I know to say. I just, you know, I got to thank the people that are with me, John Christner Trucking, Klein Engines, STP, and Rush Truck Centers, all the people that help us. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be here.
Last night, I got to tell you, Andy, you had a little bit of a sour face. You were cordial to me, but you were a little bit sour because you've had some bad luck here recently. So how much better does this make you feel?
Oh, it makes us feel better. You know, we've just had ups and downs. It's not been consistent. We just seems like we'll run, you know, top 2 or 3, fall back to 14th or something, and it hadn't been any one thing. It's just been circumstances. You know, I could sit here and tell you what all happened, but it'd take too long. So, yeah, I mean, we were horrible last night, and tonight, you know, we changed the car just a little bit and picked up. So I hope everybody enjoyed it. I hope everybody had a good time watching the race, and I guess I don't know when the next one is, but we'll be there.
Next week, the King's Royal, buddy, and the night before the King's Royal. Andy Hillenberg, a third-place finisher. A lot of smiles in victory lane tonight, Rob.
Yeah, that's definitely a driver who deserves a big sponsor on the side of that wing panel. All right, here's a look at your full field rundown. There's the top 5. We've already run through them. So we make our way back through the field here tonight. Dale Blaney with a pretty good run in 5th. Sammy comes home in 6th. Lasowski fights his way back to 9th. How about Donnie Schatz in front of the hometown fans? He comes home in 8th.
That's a good run for him, starting as far back as he did. That's the way to do it.
Tough night for Jack Hottenshield. He comes home in 12th. Jeff Swindell brings the Ford home in 15th. Dion Hindy in 19th. Wade Nygaard in 20th. Greg Delansky rounds up the field. We'll be back with more right after this. Saskatchewan, Canada. Let's check in with Dave Reed.
And I'm down with the Charger from the rear, Donnie Schatz, who started 19th and finished 8th, like you guys said. Tremendous run for you. If you're not going to win, hey, you got to turn it off for the hometown crowd somehow. That was a good one.
Yeah, thanks. You know, we really feel good. Robert Hubbard, Todd Debnich, these guys really worked hard to get this car fast. You know, Gamble race car is one of the best race cars I've ever had, and we're just lucky to have Parker Store with us. We can be up front.
Still looking for that first win. There's always tomorrow night right here at Fargo. One of the hometown fans, guys.
That's right. If you're anywhere near Fargo, make sure you come on out and check out the Red River Valley Speedway. It is a fine facility, and the fans have been just great here. We really appreciate all the hospitality from the folks up here. Here's a look at the points coming out of tonight. Steve Kinzer getting up now Mark moves up from 4th to 3rd, so that helps him out. Sammy's struggling a little bit tonight. Andy Hillenberg moving up a little bit into 5th. Well, what do you think? Getting ready for the month of money, Brad.
Well, I'll tell you what, Forbrook and Kinzer have to be ecstatic over this deal.
What do you think, Steve?
Like Forbrook picked the ideal time for a career change. I haven't seen he or Steve smile like that in a year and a half. And the next week we go to Eldora to see the Earl.
Hey, Earl, we're on our way, and I'm telling you right now, you keep Kinzer and Forbrook together, they could literally sweep the month of money, and they could get this championship and make it really ugly for everybody else.
Well, we got the King's Royal paying $50,000. The Lernerville, what, 30, whatever that is, 30-some thousand. Then we got the
HBO,
the historical big one, 100,000. And the last 2 years in a row, the guy that's won the historical big one, 100,000, turned around and won the Knoxville Nationals a week later.
That's another 100,000.
And another 100,000. So, and the way Forbrook knows Knoxville Speedway, and the wins that Steve Kinzer has there, this could be an awesome team.
And Forbrook says he's saving all the good parts for Knoxville. Don't forget, we will be with you live next Friday and Saturday night from Eldora, from the King's Royal. My good buddies Brad Doty and Steve Evans, and the guys down in the pits, Bobby Gerald and Dave Reef, I'm Ralph Shaheen. So long from Fargo. We'll see you next from Eldora. Here we come, Earl.
Motor Madness, brought to you by Cooper Tire and Rubber Company. Cooper Tire, the world is your course. Drive on. And by Miller Lite, who reminds you that whenever you feel good, it's Miller time. And by Pennzoil, formulated for today's stop-and-go driving. Stop, go, Pennzoil.